Hello, hello, a very good afternoon, good evening to you all. Welcome to another live stream with me, 320 SimPilot. I hope you're all doing very well. We are going to be jumping into XP11 in the iniBuilds simulations, A300-600ST Beluga, the fantastic representation of the Airbus Super Transporter. We're going to take it for a flight from here in Cardiff down to Bergamo in northern Italy, next to Milan basically. A very nice airport, very fun to fly into. We are going to be, first of all, correcting your screen because that is not correct. So let me see what's going on there. It's got the wrong resolution and I can't change it. No, that is a disaster. Let me see what I can do about that. I'm really surprised it's done that. What's 1440p resolution? It's not working. Disaster. Hayden, thank you so much for the very kind donation. I really appreciate it. Hayden's very kindly donated. Let me just get the right screens up. Very kindly donated £3. See what you did there. Enjoy the flight. Thanks, Hayden. Very kind. Yeah, of course, this is based on the A300, the Beluga. So, yeah. So, thank you so much, Hayden. Really, really appreciate it. Very kind of you. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us today. 2560 1440. Yes. Right. Why isn't it letting me do that? This is the problem with not using this in enough time. I'm just thinking. Okay, we're back. How are we doing? I think we've got it sorted. Right, Shelter, we are going out via, let me just check the route. So the route in CloudBot should now be correct. Yeah, sorry, I normally put it into Discord. So let me just do, this is terribly organised. Let me just do a little Discord post for anyone who wants to join us. The loudest keyboard in the world. I do apologise. It's quite ridiculous. It's a nice keyboard, but it is for I think high-paced gaming. It's incredibly hard to type on. It makes a massive noise as you do it, so it's pretty bad at the main things that I've got it for. Right, just gonna put that into Discord. So the route's available to anyone there. We're going out via Exmoor from Cardiff. Thank you very much to Shilter, who is one of our residents. VATSIM controllers, which is fantastic. So thank you so much. There we go. That's in. Good afternoon to everyone on YouTube. Sorry this is taking so long. Thank you again to Hayden for your very kind donation. Good to see you here. Dave, Maurice, AP May, I hope you're doing well. Rob's Aviation, Ismail, Ardeline, Rom, Dhananjay Suresh, good to see you again, of course. Captain Wazza, thanks for coming along and moderating. Daniel B, Brian, Rob's Aviation. If I didn't say already, I think I did. The Pepper. We got Chris, greetings from Texas. Hey, I've been to Bergamo in real life. Wonderful place. Stracciatella gelato invented in Bergamo. Who could not like Bergamo? There you go. Chris absolutely loves it, and I would agree. It's a lovely part of the world, no doubt. Chick Point's watching in 160p. Yeah, we are. You can tell how long it's been since I streamed the Beluga. We were running at 1080p at the time, it seems. We're in the Boeing bus, says Joe. Exactly, this is basically the original Airbus, the A300, just nicely modified to carry some things on its back. So I really like this. This would go in my hall of fame of add-ons that we've used on the channel. It's one of my favourites, and it's been far too long since we've used it. But there we go. So, yeah, Michael John, hope you're doing well. Thorsten, Leo, MX Blue, clicky clicky. Yeah, I think it's something like that. Yeah. Over on Twitch, you can watch on Twitch as well. The TW Spartacus. This is not freeware. This is payware from iniBuilds simulation, but it's quite a reasonably priced one, I think, for what you get. I am great Ether Master. Good to see you all over on Twitch. So yeah, you are welcome to come and join us there if you'd like to watch. Ni Chomek as well. Yes, we are on VATSIM. Right, let me merge the chats. There we go. So I think we're getting there. If you're using live weather somehow, you're quite incredibly brave leaving from Cardiff. Oh dear, Richard, what have I missed? So I am woefully underprepared. I don't have any full procedures for this aircraft. I used to, but they seem to have disappeared. I think I used to. So, oh no, not that. So I'm going to be making do with the inbuilt checklists and our Airbus knowledge to get this fantastic machine in the air. So as you can see, A300 up to here, then they ripped off the top of the fuselage, put on this big bulbous area, make it look like the Beluga whale, which makes it's not to make it, and then you've got the lowered nose. Interesting that the static ports have been moved back here and not at the front. I imagine there's some pretty funny airflow over the front of this airplane. And then, yeah, it's quite basic. We're carrying 9 tons today. We're going to take an Airbus fuselage here from the British Airways hangar at Cardiff. So, yeah, why not over to Bergamo, as if they're going to fix it there, I suppose. APU inlet, I think, at the back there. Yeah, it's a beast. It's a big machine. It's not particularly heavy, but it is a big, big, big aircraft. You can see these a mile off if you ever get to land at an airport in Germany where they are. It's quite stormy down the Bristol Channel and south at the moment, says Richard Darsley. That's okay. I'm not sure our weather radar works, so we will not have to be concerning ourselves with things like that. AP May says, I sort of dreamed of the land years ago at KMCO. Really cool aircraft. Yeah, they're amazing machines. They are a testament to modern design and engineering. So I seem to remember that we could get on board this aircraft from the external view. But am I talking nonsense? Oh no, I know what we did. We were in here, and then you can actually, I don't know how many of you have seen this. I'm assuming, I know a lot of you would have seen this many times before because I've flown it on the channel. But there we go. You've got all these handles that do actually work, which is really great. So this is our way on and off. You can't have an aircraft like this requiring stairs. That would be really annoying. It's not going around for passenger services, General Electric engines. But there we go. So yeah, it has this little staircase for the crews to get on and off, which makes sense really. It's quite low down the nose of this airplane. Does the avionics compartment is back there too? I wonder. I really don't know. I'd hate to say. This is one of those aircraft that there's not many people in the world who know much about it really. I don't know. It's only pressurized the flight deck. I know that. So none of this is pressurized unlike a normal one. Hence you have this bulkhead here. So we can... we won't close it just yet because we're not ready for that. But there we go. So jumping into the seats, and we are going to start off. We've got external power and shocks plugged in, and we'll call the fuel truck. I do have a flight plan ready to go over here. So we need to load up 16.4 tons of fuel, which is a ridiculous amount of fuel for the short flight we're doing. So we go to the load sheet. That's it. I was trying to remember. We're going to load up an Airbus fuselage, which gives us a zero fuel weight of 99 tons, which is about what I was expecting. And we want a fuel to be loaded in as, we said 16.4, but with that bad weather on the way and Bergamo presenting some interesting problems, let's go with 16.4. Let's take another half an hour. So that's going to be 2.4 tons extra. So 16.4, 74, 18.4, 18.8. 18.8 tons of fuel. Hopefully. And then we press enter. CG is going to calculate. Density, pretty standard, around 0.8. Mr. Banana says, I love seeing the Belugas and Beluga XL every time I'm in Hamburg. Yeah, exactly. Hamburg's a great place to see them. They fly over there a lot. Jonathan Gunthauser, good to see you. Jonathan says a Beluga did some touch and goes a few weeks ago in Geneva. Oh, wow, that's cool. I didn't know they would do that. So hopefully that's loading the payload fuel. There we go. CG 29.9 on the CG gives us, yeah, I think that's it. Send to takeoff perf. Right, I think we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves here. Let's get the airplane powered up, and then we can load it. I don't know why I'm getting too bogged down with that. So, overhead panel, as normal. You can see we have GPU available. It's pretty gloomy in this this aircraft. So, let us go to the batteries. And we can check the battery voltage. All good. All in a sensible range up here. The DC voltage. Batteries, of course, being DC. So, we'll turn them on. Make sure the wiper selectors are off, of course, before you do that. So wiper selectors off, landing gear lever down, spoilers disarmed, parking brake handle is on. Just checking. They changed the design of that quite a lot before they made the A320. And the external power is going to come on. Clunk. Good. Right, let's get some lights on for you all. And for me, really. It's really, really gloomy. Where do they keep the lights in here? Very similar sound effect there to the A320 power-up. No worries at all, VG2, no problem. Yeah, I know I don't appear properly in VATSIM, I think, when I'm using this aircraft. But no problem at all. Right, where's the light switch I'm looking for? Always, dome light, well, it's not powered yet. Always the hardest part of this. Map light, instrument light, main instrument. Not solving the overhead. Done it. Excellent, excellent, excellent. I'm really struggling with the controls because I'm so used to Microsoft Flight Simulator now. It's been a long time since we've been in X-Plane, too long really. So I thought it was definitely time we took it for a spin, and I really wanted to get this aircraft in the air. Thanks very much. Lights on the lower pedals also kept was it? Yeah, well remembered. Good. So batteries are charging up. We're getting a few problems, IRS faults, so there's no surprise there. Hatch not closed, no surprise on that either. So what we can do now is, well, what we'd normally do is go and check that we have things like engine oil. I'm really going to struggle with this. Engines, do we have oil quantity on the engine? Yep, there we go, 17, so we got oil. Do we have oxygen? Is that shown on this? 20 degrees, no, not sure where they show their standby oxygen. It might be a separate system, but we will definitely check the hydraulic fluid. Hydraulic fluid is looking reasonable, a little bit low in that green system. That is a bit of an unusual chart to me. Slightly different setup. Maybe we'll do a bit of investigating with that on the way. Good. Right, let's go through the flow on the overhead then, see if we can work it out. So first of all, nav. We'll let those align. They'll do battery, and then the battery operation will go out. That's just testing that it can run on battery. Then we have the spoilers and speed brake controls. The fault lights, that's fine. Low pressure, no surprise. Down here, lights are off. Good. We're going to have the strobes to auto, nav lights system 1, wing lights off, landing lights off, nose lights off, beacon off, and turn off lights off. Engine anti-ice and wing anti-ice all off. But I think we need to turn all of these computers on. These pitch trim might not work until it's more aligned. We'll give ourselves the galley. External power is on. And the rest of the electrical power lights out. That's what we want. Greeting Alexander Paz. Good to see you, generic pilot. I hope you're doing well. Lucas says, can you make an A320 Phoenix secondary flight plan tutorial? Okay, yeah, I'll give it a go. I'll see what I can do anyway. We'll do a test of the squibs. All good. Just one on the APU, 2 on the engines, and the electrical page. We've had a look at our batteries. 3 batteries on this aircraft. Just 2 on the 320. That's aligned. Gear lights are all looking good. Stick pusher systems. Fuel pumps coming on. I don't see why not. Coming down then. Oh, fuel is not loaded yet. 5. That's 12 plus 6. 18. Oh no, that's about right. 18. Yeah, so it has loaded. Interesting. Okay. And then we're going to start up the APU. Master switch on. Starts. Get a little on light, and then it will say Excel, I think. AP Maces, I suppose there's a little galley behind the toilet. Yeah, I don't know what they would do for snacks. I don't think this aircraft ever does any long range sort of stuff, so they haven't modelled it if there is one. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a drinks or something like that, some sort of hot drink maker, but It does do short flights. However, it did do some long ones, so maybe they have the option to install them if they need them. I wonder. Certainly the toilet would need to work. Good. So, Axel, there we go. APU starting up. We can have a look on the page down here. Automatically, just like the 320. Yeah, galley switch might be redundant unless it does the toilet. I'm not sure. Maybe it powers that. I'm not sure the real A300 or the normal A300 has a toilet sitting right in the galley like that. EGT comes down, common with jet engines, so they'll peak on the EGT and then it will reduce again. So that's good. APU's up and running and available. And the wipers are off. Systems for the pressurization we can leave alone. We'll leave it in auto. I do not want manual pressurization. Window heat can come on. Probe heat, I'm going to turn it on now. I turn on the crew oxygen. Here's the oxygen. Right, so there we go. So the low pressure valve. Oh, it's a little bit low. But we do have good pressure in the tank. Interesting. Interesting. Oh well. I'm not entirely sure what that's supposed to mean. Flight doors open at the moment. IRS is aligning. Oh, let me just move that alert box for you. That's a bit in the way there. There we go. Thank you very much for the subscription to Martin. And oh, don't do that to me. There we go. Right, ventilation, avionics bay. We're going to leave absolutely alone. Pack temperatures alone. Yeah, this is all fine. Pack valves. We're on pack 1 for now. It only needs 1 pack because it's just pressurizing the tiny little flight deck area. So 1 pack is more than enough. Because remember, 1 pack can pressurize the whole A320. So it doesn't need several. We'll have the emergency lights armed. AP bleed. Let's give ourselves some air now. Why not? Good. Moving along then. We can turn up. Oh, that's the screen brightness. Where's the brightness for that? Ah, yes, it's here. I remember now. Turn up the brightness for the FCU, as it were. Can we click this out of the way? Nope. There is a way. I think it's like rubber pedals or something like that. But I do not remember what it is. Right, these switches all seem to be in the right place. This is terrible. Let's get that PFD a bit brighter though. It's just not doing it. There we go. Good, sensible. We will grab the weather shortly and set up the instruments accordingly. Master caution, we're not too worried about. The aircraft looks relatively happy. The access hatch is open. Brake engine skid can go into norm and on. It's got 2 alternate systems, which is quite interesting. It's on the mic to hide the yoke. Ah, thank you very much. Oh, I'm not sure which part. It's a nightmare trying to remember. Everyone has a slightly different click spot. That's right, the yoke can stay. It's not too in the way on this aircraft. Moving along, landing elevation, landing in Bergamo, which is going to have a bit of elevation. I'll worry about that once we're underway. And yeah, it doesn't seem to be quite smooth, but I'm not entirely sure. I should know, really. And then we've got our CDU, or MCDU, as I'm sure it was called at this point. And then we have our takeoff speed cards, which will run shortly. Radio nav aids, but we don't need them. We can use LNAV now. Got this fancy radio system that they installed into this aircraft, which is quite modern. See if we can work our way around that. Alright, good. That's just pretty much okay. So now let's get the aircraft loaded up. Load the Airbus fuselage, please. Then we can go to we're not going to be ready for checklist, no. This is incredibly similar to the 320 checklist, so we'll go to takeoff performance. Now, we are starting in Cardiff. In fact, let's grab the AV tab and check the weather. So, XMOR departure. There we go. So, we're departing from Cardiff on 070 at 7, varying around. So, it's an easterly breeze with CBs around. So, yeah, there'll be a bit of dodging. So, that makes it easy. We're going to take off from the easterly facing runway. XMOR 1 Bravo is what I would expect. Is there an ATIS? Have we got a controller? We have an approach. Excellent. So, yeah, let's plan on the XMOR 1 Bravo. Afternoon, Leroy. I hope you're doing well. There There are 2 alternate brake systems because one is with and the other without anti-skid, says Lucas. Yeah, it's very good. It's very good. I'm impressed. 320 we just have on and off, so you don't get anti-skid if you turn it off or try to use the alternate brakes. Just how it's set up. So there we go. That is our expected departure. Out above 1350, below 5. Right turn, intercept the 219 from BHD at 55 miles. Ridiculous. You can see why RNAV now is a thing, because that's just trying to track 55 miles away from a VOR is, yeah, ridiculous. And then you're going to fly that for just a few miles and then intercept Exmoor. Intercept 51.7, so just 3 and a bit miles, and then you're going to carry on down to Exmoor. But fortunately, LNAV is going to take care of that nicely for us. Good. So it's runway 12. Does it load in? Can it do an ATIS? There's no ATIS available, but I assume it's going to download some local weather. It's managed. So easterly breeze, 22 degrees, QNH of 1008. Let's get that QNH set. Oh no, not that one. Or that one. There we go. Fortunately they're synchronised. So 188, 200 feet, about right for Cardiff, and 188 over there. Good. Are they loading? Yeah, they are. Out of the the wall of that hangar. The fuel truck's there, but they are done now. So it's tipping down the Cardiff, says Jamie. Yeah, it was raining when we loaded up. Good. So let's get rid of the external power, leave it on the APU. We've got the APU bleed on. I think it's time. Well, let's let them finish loading that fuselage upstairs. So let's get into that CDU. Never accuracy downgraded, no surprise. Okay, so EG. I did connect my Simbrief username. How do I do that on here? Is there a way to do that? It's been too long. I'm looking for like a menu button. Load? No. No. Fine, won't take us too long. Cardiff to Bergamo. There we go. We're going to use Zurich as the alternates. LSZH. Goes in there. You can tell that's the opposite side of the 320, hence me trying to do it. Ah, it's through the radio. Yes, I remember now, roughly. MCDU menu. Well, that's SATCOM, that's not it. ACARS. Request company route. There it is. Even better. Flight 330. Beluga 314. Align IRS. Thank you. GPS primary. That's good. Oh, that's good. Right, so now flight plan. It goes direct to Exmoor, and then there's our route all the way down. Lovely. Oh, this is a great add-on. Takeoff and approach. We need to put in the takeoff performance, and we need to do the initB page, which is here. So let's make sure we have. Oh, you see, and you can load that from the MCD. Right. Let's compute it. I don't see why not. It's a wet runway. Let's hope we fit. I didn't even think to try that. We don't need anti-ice though. It is cool enough. Config 15 and 0, air conditioning on, flex stand. Let's compute that. See if that works. This has not been made for Flight Simulator 2020 yet. It looks like we're going to work. Flaps 15 and 0. So yeah, we don't need any flaps. We're just taking off with some slats, which is hard to believe, but there you go. It's not a short runway, and we're not actually that heavy for an aircraft of this sort of power. We've said before, it's surprising this aircraft is so light, but it is. It's mostly air. It's like a big air balloon. Right, so there is now an ATIS available for Cardiff. Excellent. Thank you very much. To Ashilta. Right, so we are running with information alpha, which runs through. That gives us a QNH 1008, which matches what we've done. Temperature of 22. Good, so our performance is valid, and the wind is 020 at 4, varying between 340 and 06, so mostly a headwind. Okay, good. Good, so that's takeoff performance. I just want to make sure I got that 0 fuel weight right. Stand by. 0 fuel weight 99.4, yeah. Okay, great. So, let's go with 99.4, 0 fuel weight. Fuel on board is 18.8, which is what we've got. Gives a takeoff weight 177.8, slightly higher, but we'll lose the taxi fuel as we go out. No, that's because the 0 fuel weight, it was 99.1, wasn't it? 99.4 was what Simbrief reckoned, but yeah, 99.1. So there we go, 1175 with 400 for the taxi. Quite a lot of taxi fuel. Alternate fuel is going to be to get to Zurich. Not sure I'd want to take an aircraft like this to Zurich too keenly, but it is 3 tons. Wow, that is a thirsty alternate or thirsty route. Why? No. Last attempt. Oh, hold on. Did the init A page lose its? Yes. Good. And that reckons 2. We're going to go 3. Okay. Good. Next, we're going to go to takeoff. I have seen a Beluga in real life. Yeah, I've seen it once in the air and from the ground as well. The ages in the A300 doesn't work. Oh, I don't know, Booty 2. Yeah, I'm not sure. Good, so takeoff shift, no. We'll certainly be going full length from runway 12. But there you go, maximum takeoff is 150 tons. That's limited by second segment of brake energy. So we are going to have no trouble with that. So we're going to take off, standard thrust reduction acceleration. Oh, 1 second. Sorry about that. Right, so V1, 142. VR, 144. V2, 146. Oh, it won't let us. It just takes it straight from the FCU, which won't work yet. We need to turn on these. There we go. And now we can set it. I am going to do a lot of accidental zooming, I can tell. 142. Good. Not even 142. How about 146? How about we actually read the number? There we go, 146. That's better. Flex of 58. Now, I don't think the flex goes in here. So that's done. Clean speed is 218. But if I remember rightly, we need to actually use these numbers now. For something or another. Landing. Takeoff. Who remembers how to make this work? I don't think it matters because we've taken this from the calculator. Current winds at Cardiff are variable 090 and 621. Yeah, so slight discrepancy. Variable would mean we need to put a bit of a tailwind into that, but this loaded in at 090 at 7, so it's light. So yeah, in real life what I would do is I'd put a tailwind into performance, which would give us more limiting figures. With a 30-ton underload, I would say I'm not too concerned for this simulation of it, but yeah, that's what you would do. Here we go. Flex, takeoff please. Flex of 58. Means 97.1 target for the N1. Good. Then we'll put it into auto after takeoff. Right, what's going on upstairs? Why aren't we ready yet? This is where pilots finish what they're doing and then immediately start questioning everybody else. Why aren't they ready? I'm now ready. Everybody should be ready. So let's go. Try not to get our head taken off. They haven't done it yet. Ah, come on. Haven't got all day. No doubt it's my fault. So let's go to ground services. Loader. Load. Let's just check that's happening. I have to supervise. The FMS is wrong, so its predictions are going to be wrong, but the point is these speeds we've calculated and told the FMS. Remember, the Airbus FMS doesn't know anything. We are always telling it what we want. So what's happening here is we've we've given it those speeds. So I know these speeds are valid because I've taken them from an external source anyway. We can't use it for en route predictions. There is a way to turn on all the lights here. I don't think it's that one. There we go. Busy at Cardiff suddenly. That's cool. Thanks, Peter, for the subscription. The F and S speeds are wrong in MCDU. I think that's an A310. Ah, it's based on A310. There we go. Indeed, Tom, it is wrong. So yeah, clean speed is wrong. Ashilta said, I've never been able to set flex until I've started engine, so that's new. Yeah, well, I think I've done the right thing there. So how do we get that card to work? Why is the card not working? I don't know. It normally just pops up on here. What have I done wrong today? Maybe after engine start and it sees the weights, maybe it would be a bit happier. Right, so I would normally do diff strip. So we've done, not that one, data, we've done init A, we've done the flight plan. No, we haven't done the flight plan. Let's call up and... Can someone help me here? Am I supposed to call up and get my clearance from Ashilta now? Yeah, yeah, it's Cardiff approach 12585. Yes, I would do. I know that one, 12585. It's when they're centre that you wouldn't, I think. Maybe you would. I don't know. Do I have this bound correctly? No, I don't. Why don't I have that bound? Okay, stand by everyone, just 1 second. Give me 1 second. Okay, I think that is solved. Yes, excellent. Right, we've got to push to talk. Sorry about that. We've done that. Let's request the wind data. And then go back to our radio page. Oh, I'm used to that being the clear button. There we go, delete. And let's go to tune 12585, and then we'll need to listen and transmit. There we go. Right, we've got information alpha QNH1008 with the Beluga over on the apron.
0527, thank you. You cleared to the LAN. It is the XL1 Bravo departure.
Tom says, I got to see the Beluga XL right this year. Amazing aircraft. Very cool. Very cool. I don't think I've seen the XL. Lauren V, good to see you. Lauren, thanks for coming to moderate over on Twitch. Lauren says London West is a centre that would still cover Cardiff if they want. I see, okay. Patrick says, hi Captain, I'm new to this channel, but I found all your videos in the A320 really useful. Glad to be at my first live stream with you. Thanks for joining us, Patrick. Glad you like the videos. Thanks for coming along today. Hope you enjoy it. We're not very knowledgeable on this aircraft. Does the Belugas... Does this volume adjust the actual received volume? Not sure. Don't think so. So this is our friendly controller from last time when we left Gatwick, who helped us out. And we are Beluga 314. Cardiff, good afternoon, Beluga 314, over on the British Airways cargo maintenance apron. A300-600ST, request clearance to Bergamo.
Beluga 314, Cardiff radar, hello to you. Just confirm the ATIS on board and the QNH.
Apologies, we have Alpha with QNH 1008, Beluga 314.
Beluga 314, roger, information Bravo, no current, there's no significant change. Cleared to Bergamo, X11 Bravo, squawk 7506.
Thank you, cleared to Bergamo, X1 Bravo, squawk 7506. Thank you, Beluga 314. Okay. I think he's happy with that.
I heard your response on stream, but I didn't hear it on radio.
Oh, what have I done? Ah, apologies. Okay, yeah, I'm just trying to make sure I remember how X-Plane works. Okay, great. Yeah, so we are cleared to Bergamo, XP11 Bravo, squawk 7506. Thank you, Beluga 314. Apologies.
That's right, correct.
Okay, yeah, okay. I have to, if I go over to the VATSIM screen and click on that, it immediately disables my push to talk key. So I might have to change that and put it on the hardware somewhere. Anyway, we're going from runway 12, XP11 Bravo. No. Oh, they've swapped it all around.
Cardiff, good afternoon.
There it is. Okay.
337 Alpha Sierra, spot
And if we go to plan,
to Bergamo as well.
oh, we've got loads of people flying with us. How great is that? There we go, south, the 52, 55, Exmoor, and away we go. It knows the route. We know the VNAV isn't going to work. I think we're done with this. I'm done with it. I'm bored of looking at that, so we'll close that. Put the terrain on. And let's put the squawk in. Now this is going to be fun. 7506, please. Yes. Norm traffic on, and we change it on and off over there. Good. Back to tuning. Right, let's go see how they're doing. Good. Fuselage is on. Lights off. Always saving energy. Let's close up this door beneath. Get rid of the loader. Thank you very much, loader. Close up the door. Okay. Ah, is it because X-Pilot's not running as administrator? Perhaps that's it. That could be my issue here. Okay, anyway. Right, so that's done. So let's think. Let's sit and think. We are on the APU. We've got air. We can get rid of the ground power shortly. Everything else on the overhead is done. We have fuel. We have our loading completed. Cockpit door isn't. Oh yeah, this is the interior one. That's why that's an opt. It's a separate bulkhead. That we need to put in the. We need to be a bit more definitive. So we're clear up to 5,000 feet on this departure. Yeah, cross that above. Okay. Climbing up to 5,000. Max 5,000. There's another Airbus out there. Excellent. We've got our speed. We're going off of 118 as the initial heading. So I'm not used to having a heading bug, so I will forget about this continuously. One of the best pieces of design in the Airbus is not having a heading bug. It's just great. Totally use this 90% of the time. Don't need the VS. Good. Flight directors, would we turn on now? Why not? I don't see why not. Oh, let's go into FPV. Flight directors. Good. I'm hoping that loader will go away. Why won't it go away? What am I doing wrong? I feel like this is obvious.
Cardiff radar, good afternoon. Echo India, Whiskey, Oscar Kilo, flight level 80, Cardiff 1 Bravo. Correction, Cardiff 1 Bravo.
Quite Move says, check the message on the com. What message am I missing?
Echo India, Whiskey, Oscar Kilo, London Control, hello.
It takes a while. Okay. I'll stop being impatient. There it goes. Impatient pilot. I'm ready. Why aren't you? Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's going, and that should close the lid. There it goes. Other ground services. Get rid of the fuel truck. Get rid of the external power. Hello, better pushback. I'm anticipating this sort of a pushback. There's no one over there, so that'll be absolutely fine. If we go there, we have options.
Ground to cockpit. Plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you're ready.
Let's do
Ground to
that.
cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Right, let's run the checklist, I think. So, before start, cockpit prep is completed.
Stuart 326, hold position, I'll call you back.
And fuel quantity, we've got 18.8 on that overhead little panel. It's a shame it doesn't have just a one edition of it all. That'd be really useful. But 5, 10, 16, 17.4, 18.4, 18.6. Yeah, pretty close. Takeoff data is set on both sides.
Cardiff radar, that's a force of habit. T7 flight level 120.
We've got landing elevation. Oh yeah, I should check that. Let's go to... Oh, I'll worry about it on the way. Oh, it must be important if they've written it there. What's the elevation of Bergamo, and why don't I know that already?
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
It's pretty high up. 800 feet, apparently. So probably worth setting it for this flight. Often it really makes a difference around Europe. There we go. Landing elevation 800 set. Altimeter 1008 is set all round. Brakes anti-skid normal on. Windows, doors. So these are closed. That's closed. We're just waiting for them to finish upstairs with the cargo. So we're just going to have to hold it there. But then we'll be pretty much ready to go. It's very nearly there. By the way, we are here. 45 minutes. Not bad for an aircraft I don't have a clue about.
So connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Tug's connected and ready to go. So, back inside. Doors are closed. So, windows and doors are closed. And next is below the line. All we've got to do before that is get rid of the chocks. Or we're going to be in the classic won't push back because of the chocks flight sim issue. Beluga 314, request push start on the maintenance apron.
Beluga 314, push start for face south. The Cardiff QNH is still 1008. Just be advised, an aircraft was on your left, he's disappeared, but may reappear.
Okay, thanks very much. We'll keep an eye out. QNH 1008, push approved, facing south. Beluga 314. South, 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 south.
Right, 12, Foxtrot, T7 flight level -0.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Right, so, beacon on.
Right, fly radar heading 155.
Below line then, beacon on, parking brake as required. So, ground's ready, brakes released, let's go.
Starting pushback and you may start engines.
Finally. Still not bad, I don't think that's too bad.
5 Hill Foxtrot identified on departure.
Fuji2 says, you're now a super transporter, have a good flight. Thanks, Fuji2. Can't get X-Pilot to recognise PTT switch on TCA, have to give up and that's it. So Fuji2, if you're using the new X-Pilot, you have to assign it in the X-Plane menu. It's really, yeah, that's what confused me, and that's why I didn't have it assigned, because it has to be assigned for each aircraft when it's done like that. But it's hidden in the actual keyboard commands for your profile for your aircraft. So we're going to have options to push back out of here. Absolutely love this machine. Just great. What a piece of design. And what a great add-on. They've just done such a good representation of it. Right, let's get these engines up and running. Starting engine number 2. That was a mistake. Did not mean to do that. Right. I think this goes to start A. So we'll use system A, start 2. Here comes the N2. Nice and simple. Jamie, thanks so much for the $6 tip. Thanks for choosing Cardiff. Keep up the great videos. Thank you, Jamie. Really appreciate it. Thanks for coming along. And thank you for a very kind donation. I hope you're doing very well. No problem. I've used Cardiff a lot. I'm a big fan of Cardiff. We also have some nice Orbex scenery, but it's a nice airport to operate from. It's got space for everybody to fly with us, which is great. Right, so that's now motoring around. We'll provide fuel. Ground's ready or done, so brakes set. We've got a fuel flow. That little dial there's fuel used. EGT lights up.
Airbus 11 Tango, we have got Alpha 3 on the charts.
Roger.
He might be crashed there doing that.
Echo Oscar Kilo, you can contact Bristol radar 125.650, goodbye. 125.650 for Bristol radar, many thanks. Echo Oscar Kilo, cheers on. 2Jet 5, Hill Foxtrot, climb flight level 160. Jet 5, good Foxtrot, climb flight level 160.
Airbus 11 Tango, could you just confirm the runway for departure?
Riraji says, have I missed anything? Oh, you're still on stand. Imagine coming to one of my streams an hour after it starts and thinking you've missed anything. Impossible. It's never happened. Right, let's start up engine number 1. It's nice and simple, but they did make it even easier with the 320. It's very quick to motor. Powerful APU. I can't remember what we're waiting for. I think it was about 20.
Holding Alpha 3, and we are ready to copy, Airbus.
Airbus 11 Tango, you're still clear to Bergamo. It's the XP11 Alpha departure now on the same squawk.
Sorry about that, just adjusting volumes. Okay. Alicia's Maggie, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Alicia says, hi Captain, awesome to see you back in the Beluga again. Have a great flight. We will try. Thanks for coming, Alicia. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, it's been a while. We still got to fly that MD-11. Rotate MD-11. So on takeoff, what modes? Do we need to arm any modes? It's got heading armed. It's got heading active, in fact, and man thrust. That's all. That's no good. Yes, heading out, boom, man thrust. Anyway, they're gone. That was a good engine start. So let's go up here. We can get rid of the start system. We can turn off the APU air as well. And we'll check everything else is in line. So that's good. That's good. That's good. We've got no amber lights. We've got fuel pumps on. We've got bleeds. We've got hydraulic pressure. We've got quantities in the systems. All looking great. APU shutting down. Bleed air. We've got running from the engines, which we're going to leave for takeoff. Good. Good, good, good. As we move down here, we've got that. We've got the flex temperature. We need to set the flaps to first stage. So that I have got assigned because it's the same number of notches you'll notice as the Airbus. So we've got 0, 1, 2, 3 full. But they just happen to have labelled it with the degrees back when they made this. Patrick says, when will you fly Roblox pilot training simulator? I haven't yet thought about doing Roblox. I don't even understand what Roblox is, I must confess. Ed, good to see you. Ed says, in time for takeoff. Hope everyone is well. Yeah, thanks for coming, Ed. We started a little bit earlier today, but yes, for good reason, in that I knew it might take me a bit longer. Anyway, 15 and 0 is set on the flaps. Let's go down. Rudder trim needs to be reset to 0. Does my rudder trim work on here? It does, yes. That's cool. Engines are running. Goods. Flaps are set. So the last thing we would do is set our trim. We said that was going to be about 29.9. But we don't get a percentage on here. Oh, here's the clean speeds. There you go. CG29 trim. How do I get this to work? I'm sure there was a really easy way to do it. It was very good. That's for landing later. I don't remember. Does anyone know how to set the takeoff trim in this aircraft? Trim, 1 down. There it is. 1 down. See? Good job, Airbus got rid of that. Too complicated. Too complicated. Right, after start, pitch trim is set. 1 down. Rudder trim is at 0. Ground spoilers need to be armed, unlike the Boeing. There you go. Ground spoilers armed. So that's flaps 15 and 0. 15 and 0. That's crazy, but there we go. ECAM status is checked. We've got no concerning messages. Anti-ice not required. Hand signal is received. So all we need to do now is we'd probably put this transponder to on. We'll get in trouble if we don't. Oh, just leave it on TAR8. You wouldn't normally do that just yet, but it doesn't matter too much, to be honest. Right, let's get out of here. Beluga 314, request taxi. Foxtrot Alpha, hold Alpha 2, Beluga 314. Don't have a clue where we are. Yeah, ready to copy now, Beluga 314.
Beluga 314, it's the same clearance, it's the same place, it's the same squawk, but it's the XP11 Alpha now.
XP11 Alpha, Beluga 314, thank you.
I'm sure you'll enjoy redoing all of that lovely performance maths.
Yes, that's... funnily enough, this happens about half the time. All right, we've swapped runways.
Airbus 11
No problem.
located.
So that's why it was worth taking that, because of course Alpha 2's down here. So how would we do this? Well, there's no point to start taxiing until we're sure. So let's just put the new runway in. It's going to load it in with the tailwind, absolutely fine. We can just, let's get the new weather and load it in. By the way, a lot of performance calculators that pilots use do not download weather automatically. We have to enter it ourselves from the ATIS because the ATIS aren't uploaded like this. So it's usually a case of very carefully checking. There's also a common rule to calculating performance, which is your first performance will be correct usually. You don't tend to make a mistake because you do it properly. If something changes and you then have to do a second one, inevitably you get something wrong and you have to do a third one. It's just the rule. It's like a law of physics. Anyway, that's made our taxi a bit longer, so I'm glad we got plenty of fuel. Okay, good. Oh, this could get interesting. Oh no, it's because it's pressing the wrong one. There we go. Right.
Can we get push and start?
Runway 30, please. Not allowed. 3. Oh, okay, right. Let's stop being lazy. Let's actually move over. Runway 30. XMOR 1 Alpha. Insert. There it is. XMOR 1 Alpha. This time we're going to go 298 out to 4 miles out to the delta, then make our left turn. So that's 298 radial, 4 miles is the delta. Overfly that point above 2,300 feet, below 5. Left turn round 129 degrees, and then intercept down to XMOR. So very similar. Stopping at 5,000 feet again. No great changes there. We already have our taxi clearance, so let's go. Nose light to taxi. Let's have to turn off lights. So in the 320 they reduced the switches, so turn off lights are now on the same switch, and then in the 350 they reduced it even more, got rid of the landing lights being separate. But anyway, I digress. Brakes released, let's go. So we're going forward, we're taking Foxtrot, and then we're going... Why is it turning? Why are you turning? I already got rid of that. Okay.
0527 behind the departing Airbus A320 via Alpha 1 runway 30 line up and wait behind.
This is a new problem. I did taxi this airplane around yesterday to make sure it was working. Also, we need to finish that performance before we get too excited. So that's all the same. Speeds should be similar. 42, 44, 46. 42, 44, 46. That's absolutely fine. Flex of 58 now, which is what we were doing. And this time we take them up to 150 tons from runway 30. Did I press compute? Suspiciously similar. Yeah, there we go. One down trim. Right, what's going on with the steering? No, I turned this off yesterday. Obviously didn't save it properly. Solved. So we were told Foxtrot Alpha Alpha 2, but we're going to have to use... Oh, that is Alpha. Okay, there we go. So forwards, Foxtrot, all the way down, Alpha is the main taxiway. No problem. Thanks, Captain. Was it? Absolutely right, yep. The tiller was assigned incorrectly. Love the sound effects. I don't know if you guys can hear it. How's the aeroplane audio? Can you hear those engines when I give them a rev? Really like that sort of whine it does. Very cool. That's it. Says how come the turnway lights and taxi lights are on different switches? Is it because the taxi lights have 2 detents? Good question. Why they did this, I don't know. Because taxi and takeoff lights are different lights anyway. Turn off lights are, on the 320 are 2 separate lights, but they don't get 2 separate switches. So that'll be these 2 little lights here. Chris says, have you had to go at other types of sim, bus, train, goat, etc.? No, we haven't done any bus or train sims, or goat sims.
advise Equinor 1 Alpha departure, which is 3204.
Oh, well done, Fran. Thank you very much. Our heading bug is totally wrong. We're now going to go off of runway 30 with 2907. Complete 180. Thank you. Another reason to hate the heading bug. Totally unnecessary. Good. Well, it's all clear out there. And we can go all the way to Alpha 2. So not quite to the runway. I don't know how people taxi these large aircraft. It always amazes me seeing 777s and things drive around. Taxi Alpha, hold Alpha 1, Beluga 314. Yeah, it's something that I think the 320 is large enough for taxiing around. Right, flight control time. Full left, full right, neutral. I think we need to go to a separate page ourselves. Flight control. Because they are hydraulic, so they will show up. There we go. Full left, full right, neutral, full up, full down, neutral. And we'll say the rudder's done because, as ever, that's assigned to the there we go. So it's got vertical speed and heading, which is absolutely not what I want. I want to arm a different mode. Nav. So nav's armed. Okay, that's better. Someone's waiting for us to get out of the way. The speed bird. What about? Would I arm level change instead of vertical speed? Why is it in vertical speed mode? We've got nav engaged there. Not bad as Captain was it for taxiing to departure in an hour? No, I think it's not bad. Alright, I've done the flight controls, we've got the TCAS and TARA. Where's the config? There it is. Takeoff test normal, so it looks like we're pretty much there. After, no, not that. Before takeoff test, flight controls are checked, flight instruments are checked, briefing confirmed. V1, VR, V2, flex temp are all set. We got 142, 144, 146 and 58. I have no idea how to engage any of that. We'll see. Slats flaps, we're still at 15 and 0. Takeoff config is normal. Transponder is set. TCAS TARA. Auto brake needs to go to max. Or does that work? No. Max. And ignition as required. We'll leave it as normal. Now, if you had heavy thunderstorms, this might be a day to think about continuous ignition. So maybe we'll do that. Continuous ignition. There you go. Continuous relight on. So that's the before takeoff check is complete. All we're going to do is put the lights on when we get up there, and we'll go. There's no SRS and takeoff config mode in A300 and A310, right? Says Probot. Yeah, that's my question. Chris is playing Train Sim World 2 now. 3 is out soon. There you go. More sim developments on the horizon. I'm going to have constraints up. There's the autopilot. I know that. I think I pressed that to get this to work. It isn't remarkable, the difference. Oh, we're pretty slow. Holding everyone up. Wing it cleared all the way to Alpha 1. 30 boots. Is that A300 behind us? Excellent. Give him a flash of the flight controls. By the way, no ailerons. Mad, right? Just those internal ailerons and the roll spoilers. Not a design system that they stuck with. They actually moved out on their long-haul aircraft to having only ailerons. Airbus don't bother with the internal ones anymore. Boeing still have it on the 787 and the, I think the 777. Right, we're going all the way to Alpha 1 up there. Pole9, thank you so much for your €20 super chat. Very kind. Hey, says Pole9. Hey to you, Pole9. Thank you for coming along and supporting the channel. I hope you're doing very well. Great to see you as always. Pole9's been far too generous with the channel. But great to see you here, Pole9. I hope you're enjoying it. Something a little bit different for what the channel's become a bit lately. We've done a lot of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Good to be back in X-Plane for sure. And there was a comment before the stream started. Somebody was upset that I wasn't using. Oh, say upset. Somebody said that they were disappointed I wasn't using the A320 and I have recently updated it. I've got the new software. I haven't flown it, so I didn't want to run a stream on it until I've made sure I know what's working and what isn't. But I will be flying that soon, so don't worry about that. We will get back into the A320 because I know a lot of you joined the channel when that because of that. So we will be back in that. But today, X-Plane Day. It's been a while.
Beluga 314, ready to reach it.
Ready for departure, Beluga 314.
430, clear takeoff, service wind 30 degrees at 8 knots.
Clear of takeoff, runway 30, Beluga 314. Right, let's go. Lights on. We'll put the wing lights on. Nose lights, take off. Nav lights are on. Goods. Still clear on approach. Clear on our display. We've done the checklists. Look at the size of it. Imagine seeing this taxiing around. I suppose they had jumbo jets at Cardiff, so why not this? But yeah, thank you again, Pol9. Really appreciate it. Very generous. 20-euro super chat. Very kind. My air traffic is very quiet here. Ah, I see. The A320 has a bit of performance loss with Simbridge. Yeah, I did try Simbridge. Maybe I'll get rid of that then. Andy H1302, thanks for coming along and moderating. You are just in time. Right, there we go. Let's do a stops takeoff. So, oh, that looked like it twitched the nose wheel. Let's see. Right, let's take off. So, bit of forward pressure. Spool up the engines. Rotating at 144. Are we going to get any SRS? I feel like we should. I don't know if I should be pressing anything else though. My plan is just to press auto thrust. Does anyone object to that? Or is there a toga button? No, that's the auto thrust button like on the 320, yeah. Is there the thing we should press? Ah! No, that's the Mac button. Alright, let's see. Auto lightning to speed back. Why won't it engage? What are we doing wrong? Thanks, I'm still not managing. Press left of auto thrust. There it is! We've got it, let's go. Right. Take off. So, thank you very much. That was the key, the small screw. So, forward pressure, we've got thrust SRS heading. We're just going to engage nav after takeoff. Thank you so much to everyone helping me there, Lucas. That was very helpful. Good. Right, airspeed is alive. Thrust is set before we reach 80 knots. Engine's roaring. Great sound. 80 knots to 100. Stick to neutral. Such a powerful beast. V1, rotate. Keep going, keep going. There we go. Positive climb, gear up. Wow, 190 knots. Yeah, it just goes, this airplane. Remarkable. That was a slow rotation there, hence the speed has built up too much, really. Passing 1,100 feet, Beluga 314. Climb flight level 80, Beluga 314. Right, let's just focus on what we're doing initially. Nav has engaged, so that's good. Stop over controlling.
Behind the departing Boeing 737-600, fire up 1 runway 30 line, wait behind. Wait behind departing Boeing aircraft, C-36.
Yeah, that was embarrassing, but thank you for your help, everyone. And it's very kind of the controller to look after us as well, to a shelter. Right, it's obviously not going to accelerate itself. It's gone into speed mode, so we're going to have to do that because it should have done it at 1,000 feet. So autopilot 1. Oh, it's gone into outstyle already, so it's going to lower the nose. But it's targeting 175, so let's just accelerate. 250, please. We'll get above the green S. We'll bring in the slats, as there are no flaps out. Round the turn we go. I'm going to put this to auto, so it will limit the thrust to climb thrust. It was a big flex on that takeoff.
04, climb flight level 150, route direct to Southampton, VOR.
Let's bring those slats in. Wow, very slow. Very slow. Just in there. Apologies, go ahead for Beluga 314.
314, route direct to Southampton, VOR, climb flight level 150.
Direct Southampton, climb flight level 150, Beluga 314, thank you. Navigraph keeps trying to update. Right, we're going up to 150. Let's go for level change. VNav's in opt. Flaps are definitely up. Gear is up, flaps are up, so we're safe to accelerate. And now we're going to go direct to Southampton VOR. Sam. They keep swapping sides. Insert. There we go. Message, speed limit exceeded. Yeah, it is. It's so powerful. It's having no trouble busting through its speed limit. It's quite amazing. So now these predictions are wrong. That is the problem with the FMS in this aircraft. Right. Before we embarrass ourselves, after takeoff climb check, the slats flaps are definitely retracted. Landing gear up, neutral, up, and then neutral. Packs on. Yeah, although it's just the one pack, but it is on. We used it for takeoff. Altimeters, of course. Thank you, checklist. Standard, standard, standard. Climbing up to flight level 150. That's the after takeoff. Climb check is complete. Next up will be probably the approach, as is the Airbus way. Yeah, let's get rid of continuous relight out of the clouds. 10,000 feet. Should we do 290? Seems to be able to do it, but it might be a bit heavy on the fuel burn. And let's put up nearest airports. Fuel used. This is in kilograms. Yep, so we've used 2 tons, which would tie in. Yep. Good. Oh, I see. There's a speed limit. So actually, 290 is probably a bit fast. Let's do 270. We're reaching that very quickly. So we go to vertical speeds, which you have to pull, I suppose. Yes, VS mode. There we go. And now I need to very rapidly change it to something more useful. Let's do 1,400 feet per minute. Thanks so much as ever for your excellent help. 122.8 Beluga 314. Bye bye. So great having that control. Thank you, Ashilta, for your hard work with so many people suddenly flooding Cardiff to go the same way. It's always a bit of a nightmare. So yeah, really, really appreciate it. Right, there we go. Leveling at 150, but we're allowed to carry on. So we're going to go up to our cruise level then of 33. Something that was missing on the A300 series was having that little swap over from hundreds to thousands. But there we go. 330, level change. Should bring it up to climb thrust. And 270 knots. Maldan says, how is Dan Air Virtual going? Is it UK-ish EU only, or are there options for other regions? So we have lots of our fantastic hardworking moderators and members of this community who work hard over at Dan Air Virtual. It is their project, so I don't want to make sure that there's no accidental confusion. I don't do anything for it. I just occasionally fly routes on it. It's fantastic. Highly recommend it if you're thinking of just getting some motivation to fly different routes. And yeah, you can fly long haul, but it is all UK and EU based initially. So yeah, but there are some long haul flights, I think down to the Caribbean and so on. Someone who else in the chat who's probably flown one will be able to answer that better than me. Let's retract those landing lights now we've accelerated as well. Yeah, so there are some long haul flights available, but if you want to fly sort of intra-America or anything like that, no, it doesn't do that at the moment. If you want to do that in Retro Airlines, I think it's V1 Simulations is involved with a virtual airline that does that. The shelter says, most welcome. The last minute runway change was an unexpected and enjoyable conundrum. Yeah, excellent. Happens all the time. I mean, it happens a lot on my streams, but it happens in real life just as much. Well, maybe not just as much, but it does happen. And the amount of times I've sat there, you think you're all ready to go, and then you have to change everything and run the new performance, and it's not as easy as it is in the in this EFB for a lot of performance that I have to run. Right, departure shot. There you go. Streamlabs, thanks to Captain Warza, has provided a link to register if you want to join down there. It's great fun. I really recommend it. I almost flew it today, but because we did our last stream in Air 2000 colours, I thought I better not do two in a row. There's some excellent liveries by some of our members for XP11 for the 757. So the Flight Factor 757 needs an outing soon as well. But I think, as I said, our next stream is probably going to have to be the A320 to see where it's got to. No worries, Mel McLean. So Mel McLean is US based but open to exploring AU options. Yeah, it's good fun. It's good fun. But I appreciate that it feels safer to stay around local areas. After all, I fly mostly in Europe. EBOS is having pizza. It's pizza day. It's been a while since my pizza day, so I am jealous. Hope you enjoy that, EBOS. Monitor runs both PBA and V Spirit. Great guy. Highly recommend both VH2 as well as our own Dan SSR V. There you go. So there is Piedmont Virtual and Virtual Spirit. Quality Moves is struggling out of here, starting to stall. Oh dear. Hopefully you sort that one out. We seem to have no performance issues today. We're doing quite well. Doing decimal 6.1 in the climb. I think we can go a bit faster than this. Let's swap over to a Mac. Decimal 6.4. It's at infrequent icing range, but no moisture, so no worries for that. Old school pressurization system, old displays, but still we've got a big differential pressure, almost 8 already actually. Clearly we're not supposed to go too high in this thing. Cabin altitude. Oh, hold on, it's almost 8, but the cabin altitude's only at 2,500 feet, so plenty of room. And he says, Victor Tango has painted the Flight Factor 757 in the original Air 2000 livery with the red and gold stripes. Yes, so Victor Tango, that's the livery I was supposed to use. That was so I was looking just yesterday. Let me find them actually. Make sure I get the names right. So Victor Tango's done a lovely Flight Factor 757 livery. There's also from Isaac a really sharp, although you can't use it with Dano Virtual, really sharp Monarch retro livery for the 75. And then AC455 also did the Air 2000 Tapestry livery for the Flight Factor 757, which is just beautiful, fantastic. So thanks to Victor Tango and AC455, we will need to get, well, that'll be our next Dano Virtual flight, as I say, when we get to that one. It's amazing how rare streams are right now. I know it's been a bit of a gap every time. It's running about once a week. It will be better in the winter, but yeah, it's obviously just very busy right now with work, so not getting quite as much time as normal to stream. But there we go. That's good news really, I suppose. If you haven't seen it already on the channel, I've got the video about auto landing. So I'm often asked about auto landing. And for an auto land tutorial, it was something I've been asked for since I did XP11, and I never did one, not because I didn't want to, but because it's a big video and I knew it would be, and I wanted to do it, wanted to cover the right topics. So I finally tried it out, and that video is now up on the channel. I filmed it in the Phoenix A320 for Microsoft Flight Simulator, but it will work if you're using as long as your Airbus simulation can auto land. It doesn't really matter which one you're using. That just happens to be the one I was using. So if you're using the Toliss A321, it's equally applicable. So I hope you enjoyed that. It is quite a technical video. It's about 45 minutes long, and it's a lot of discussion. But that's because auto landing isn't just we don't just arbitrarily auto land. It's a big topic that gets a lot of attention in our simulator work and in our license checks, and when we do them on the line, it is something that takes extra care and attention. So I thought it was only appropriate to make sure that the first video on the topic covered that, but we might be thinking of trying out some other things with it. Have a bit of fun, show some of the limitations, see how the aircraft handles, see if they manage. Yes, what is the heading bug? Good question. I don't really know. It is useless until we need it. Hence, on the 320, it disappears from view, but on this one we have to update it. Is this one you can push in to update? Yes, so they were already thinking ahead, Airbus. You don't need to update it, you can just push it in and it synchronises to your current heading. Don't know if you can see what I'm doing there. So yeah, the problem is as you fly around your departures and so on, you turn and your heading bug will inevitably be moved away from where you are, but if you push it in, it just snaps back to your current heading. Great, but thankfully they realised, saw the light, that is also a waste of time, and now we don't have it until we use the heading mode. Robot says, we were having thick clouds in Dubai this week. I made 2 auto lands and OMDB was IFR, or limited IFR. Your tutorial really helped, thanks. You're welcome, Probot. I'm glad it helped out, yes. So in the video I talk about the different requirements, the visual range required, the facilities, the aircraft, the things we'll brief, the things we'll check, the modes that we need to check on the aircraft, what modes we're monitoring, how we monitor them, and what the aircraft's supposed to do as it lands, and some of the limitations on it doing it. I didn't even get started on things like using different flap configurations and engine failures and so on. Or what I'd like to do is show some failures whilst flying in autoland to show you what would happen. Inevitably it's a go around pretty much, but there are some slightly different perspectives to it later on. Yeah. But yes, Daniel B, I would indeed, of course, download the fly-by-wire A380X once it's released. Absolutely. Absolutely. Duffy says, I think Duffy's asking me, but yes, I go active on VATSIM all the time. Aviation Stuff says, you're my saviour, mate. When I bought the Toliss A321, I used your videos to help me with the aircraft, and now it works a dream. Thanks. Fantastic. I'm glad to hear that. I've done a lot of videos with the Toliss A321, so I'm glad to hear they've been used for aviation stuff. Excellent news. So thanks very much for coming along. Right. Don't think we have much else to do. We're almost at level off, so it's climbing quite nicely at 6.4. Still doing 1,000 feet per minute. This does work as a TCAS, so we will be able to see. But to change the range on it, I think you have to go down into this box here. Anyway, last 1,000 feet to go. I should have started the timer. That's a chrono. What we're doing there, what this is doing. Well, that's a GMT time. Why would you want slow and fast? What's that doing? Is that changing the sim time or something? That's the one I'm talking about. That's the run I should have done. For the elapsed time. There we go. Thanks, Duffy. Phase Cloud, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Almost at Southampton. Any second now. Well, it's lowering the nose. Is it going to go into... Oh, it's just gone into out. It's already there. There we go. 330. We can disarm those. Now, here's a question. Has anyone worked out why you can't use the speed brakes in this aircraft with the Thrustmaster TCA. I haven't managed to convince it to work. But there we go. Also, we're going to go into TCAS. No, don't do that. No. Must be in here. No, it's with the code. It's with the code. There we go. We can set it. It's on norm. We'll look down now. If we're in the cruise, good. Back to tune. Have a glance at our systems pages. We've got no memos or anything like that. Total fuel. Oh, there's the total fuel. 14.6 tons. We've used 4 tons, so that'd be about 18.6 starting with. So that makes sense. What we're doing there is just checking that all the fuel numbers add up. So is the fuel we've used plus the fuel we have adding up to the right number? If it was less, so we've used 4 tons but we've only got 10 tons on board, then it means some fuel is disappearing somewhere and we've got a leak. It could also overread, which is another checklist if there's a fuel overread issue. Good. I'm going to leave this on the flight plan page as well for now. We've gone to airports. Yeah, probably both would. Control wheel steering we're not going to worry about. And now, how fast can we go? We were planned to go 0.68. So let's do it. Gives us a landing time of 1750 Z. So an hour and 20 minutes. So that means descending in about 50 minutes. So a bit of time in the cruise to chat, which is what I figured would be an advantage. There you go. Not so much performance up here. We're only at 330. It's running at thrust limit, the cruise thrust limit of 98.4. Barely accelerating. Up above flight level 300, most jet engines don't have much excess thrust anyway. Quality Move says my auto throttle isn't turning on and I'm already at flight level 220. Do you have any fixes? Either press that button, go on the overhead panel and check you've got this engaged auto thrust. You need this switch on or it won't work. That's my only thoughts. I think it's this switch, ATS. Auto throttle system, something like that. Is that coming sands on the terrain radar system? Yes. It doesn't... I don't think that's exactly how it looks on the 320 now, but the older ones do look something similar to that, yeah. Yeah. It's not quite as clear as that. So about an hour and 20 till we arrive in Milan Aviation Stuff 19. Patrick says, would you say VATSIM is a good way for student pilots to get more practice with the comm side of flying? I've heard mixed opinions from other pilots. Now, I don't normally recommend anything simulator related for practicing real world stuff, but if it's just about gaining confidence and using phraseology, certainly VATSIM can give you that confidence that you'll be able to answer, and just the controllers are usually very good. They are... look at our departure there out of Cardiff. That was all excellent, exactly as you'd expect it to be in the real world. But that's all IFR related. There's not so much VATSIM for general aviation. So if you're a student pilot, in terms of you doing your private pilot's license, maybe less so, because it may be a little more... I'm sure the controllers are capable of doing it, but I don't know... Well, maybe... I shouldn't really comment, I suppose. I don't actually know. But certainly for IFR flying, it tends to be very good. I wouldn't study using it. It's not a replacement for actually knowing the phraseology yourself, but what it would do is perhaps give you a bit of confidence in doing that. Now, that's ridiculous. I've never seen an airliner do that. So let's see what happened there. I think I've got something set wrong. Oh no, we got the bank limiter set to 15. It shouldn't have gone to 25 degrees. Not sure why I did that, but there we go. Maybe the A300 did, unless you were careful with it. Right, 0.68, 1750. Good stuff. Plus a little bit of extra on the arrival. Thank you for the follow. Unfortunately, I won't be able to read that name because I just can't read pretty much any language other than English. But yeah, thank you very much for following. I hope you're enjoying the stream. And the H1302 says a paid subscription to the American Pilot Edge network is supposed to be better for GA pilots. There you go. And of course, it depends where you are in the world. You know, there's plenty of good controllers available, but do they cover your region if you're trying to learn for a specific region as well? Nestor says, any tips for the type rating A320? Starting soon and learning a lot with you. Yeah, it's funny. It gets asked more and more these days. When we started the channel, you know, obviously most people were saying, oh, should I even think about going into flying? And now I think about it, and people who were thinking that over 2 years ago when we started the channel may well have done all their training and qualified and be out there flying Airbuses right now, which is an amazing thought. Advice for the type rating is, I usually just give the same. I mean, type ratings are hard work, so embrace the ground school before the type rating. If you run it before, some schools do it like that, some don't. But yeah, it's going to be hard. Just accept that those weeks will be fully dedicated to that type rating. Try and clear out space for your head, so you're not getting distracted. If you can avoid it, obviously life happens anyway, so that's not guaranteed. But if you can, just don't give yourself any big projects other than the type rating in the meantime. That can help. And I would say, yeah, just take on board from your instructors. You might get different opinions from different instructors. Don't worry if that happens. But you'll soon learn what you like and don't like. But then there's things that are just written down in gospel. So yeah, the type ratings I've done, it's just been a case of it's written off. In the evening, you just sit there and you study, and then you go in and you fly, and then you're home, and it's more study, reviewing what you did, reviewing what's coming up next, and doing your best. But they are always a bit of a baptism by fire. They're usually designed not with you in mind, but with the training footprint and the legal requirements in mind. So typically type ratings are done as a minimum sort of number of simulators required. If it needs more, if you need a couple more, don't get too disheartened. It happens. It's not a sign that you're not capable. But anyway, who knows? So yeah, I hope that doesn't make it sound too scary. They're not difficult. You just need to be aware that you're not going to come home and watch TV in the evenings, as I'm sure you know anyway. Quoty Moose, thanks so much for your £3 super chat. I really appreciate it. Quoty Moose says, OMG, you are a saviour. Thank you so much, legend. You're very welcome, Quoty Moose. Thanks for flying along with us today. Really appreciate it. Very kind of you, and I hope things are working out for you now. There is an exam going on in Baku on VATSIM if anyone wants to fly there. Nice big side windows. That's really, really impressive. I'd have thought on the A300 you'd have to have some pretty good sun visors, because that could be a very big window to be cooked by the sun for 12 hours. Right, can we see the exterior? We can absolutely see the exterior coming up. Yeah, a particularly nice exterior model on this aircraft. Really nice details on the screws and rivets and paints and so on. Dan Gaines likes it. It is a magnificent beast indeed, Dan Gaines. Totally agreed. Joseph Recker says, the wings look so small. Yeah, they do. I find that on like the A321 as well, the Airbus wings do tend to look a little bit smaller than some of the Boeing ones, like the 737. Patrick says, why does the gear lever look like it's down? So the reason is, on a lot of older aircraft of this generation, you'd put the gear up and then you would switch it off to the neutral position afterwards. That means you've depressurized that system, so you're not constantly running the hydraulics, pressurizing the gear when they don't need it to stay up. So yeah, quite common. On the A320, surprise, surprise, automatic. So gear comes up, and then it depressurizes itself as you accelerate and climb, and then it will repressurize itself when you decelerate in the descent. Have you ever experienced clear air turbulence? How common is it? Says Patrick. Yes, I have. Hello. Hello, you coming in? No. First officer thought about bothering to show up for work today, but she obviously is not that interested. Have you ever experienced clear air turbulence? How common is it? Yeah, clear air turbulence is very common. It's most turbulence in the cruise that I go through is clear air turbulence. What clear air turbulence is just, is if you're sitting here now and you get turbulence. Other turbulence associated in cloud and being part of sort of thunderstorms is more predictable. We can see it on the weather radar, we can avoid it, so we don't tend to encounter it as much, and if you do, it's for shorter periods. But you get into the cruise, you really there's no way to know. The forecasters don't really know. So you get into a cruise like this, and then it's just bumpy, and you're just shaking around. That is really, really upsetting. Nobody likes that. Passengers don't like it. We don't like it. It's not dangerous. It's not dangerous at all. Let me be very clear. You could stay in that all day. It really wouldn't affect the airplane in any way, safety related. But what it does do is it just makes everything a little bit more difficult. And you may have to put the seatbelt signs on as well. So we'll do our best to avoid it by if we get so the best way to know it's coming is when controllers will tell you there's been reports of turbulence at. So you'll check in now with the next ATC sector, which in this case would be France in front of us. We've probably already checked in, and they would say you may experience turbulence along your route. Turbulence reported flight level 300 to 340, and we'll be sat here at 330 going, oh no, what can we do about it? Well, can we go up, get above it, or can we go down, get below it? If we go down, we burn more fuel. Do we have enough fuel to do that? Is that sensible? For example, if we were going on a 4-hour flight and there was turbulence from flight level 300 to 390, we're not going to go down to 280 and sit there for 4 hours. It's not going to work. But you might do it if it's bad enough for that sector. But of course the other problem is if there is an area of turbulence, for example in a band of popular flight levels, so 300 to 400, very popular, everyone will try and dive down to the clear level. Let's say it's clear below flight level 320. Oh, it's reported smooth below flight level 320. Well, lo and behold, everyone's going to try and go there, so controllers may have difficulty separating you. Anyway, that is my little talk on clear air turbulence, but not dangerous, not a problem. If you're sitting on an airplane and it's shaking around, it's annoying, it's uncomfortable, it's not unsafe, it's totally fine. Yeah. Richard says, I wonder how often people actually call a mayday on VATSIM anyway. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard one, have I? We'll see. Nestor, no problem at all, thanks for coming along. Good luck with your type rating, enjoy it, it's good fun. Meza says, any tips on landing the A300 Beluga 310? No. I'll see how I managed today. I don't actually remember. I have a funny feeling this aircraft automatically brings a thrust back. Can someone tell me if that's true? Planet email says, so I booked my first trial lesson. Assuming I am hit by the flying bug, do you consider it wiser to book the Class 2 medical before I commit to a course? I already know my BMI will cause an issue. Planet email, yeah, it sounds like you already know the answer to that. Yes, if you're worried about a medical issue, get your medical first, just so you don't waste your money or have to try and get it back off the flying school or something like that. I recommend it for everyone. Same for if you're going to become a commercial pilot and you want your Class 1 medical, just get it done, and then you can know. And it's not that, if you don't get it straight away, it doesn't mean you might never. It depends on your situation, of course. But yeah, I highly recommend getting that sorted before you hand over any money in particular. There it is. We found it. It was the interphone switch that gets rid of the yoke. Still, it's quite out the way. Richard says, how often do you get wake turbulence up there? In the cruise, almost never. Very, very rare. I couldn't tell you why. I think the separation is probably bigger, and there's less likely you're exactly where they are. What's funny is you can fly through the contrail of another airplane and not get wake turbulence from it, just maybe a little lump. But if you get wake turbulence in the sort of terminal areas, so when you're down, lower down, in towards an airport, that is very noticeable. If you know what you're looking for as a passenger, you'd be able to spot it. It's not like normal turbulence where you're sort of shaking around for a while. It is a very sudden jolt in one direction usually. That's what my experience has been. So it might suddenly roll the aeroplane or something like that. Again, not dangerous, not in itself. It can obviously destabilize the airplane, which is not great. So we'll have to report it and tell air traffic control and so on. But yeah, it does happen, but relatively rarely. I'd say once or twice a year probably. The timings and so on are set up so it isn't very common, and I do a lot of flying in a normal year, that is, and don't experience it regularly. Piano Learner, good to see you. Piano Learner says, hi, all late to the party, we'll have to watch the start later. What cargo we're taking? We have a whole fuselage up there. Yep. We might go and check on it in a minute, although it is unpressurized, so probably shouldn't. Afternoon, Rajid, I hope you're well. Stampede says, how would you say X-plane weather is at the replicating turbulence in the cruise? Yeah, goodness me, it's a good question. I don't have any certain feelings on it. I wouldn't know what to say, to be honest. X-plane generally does flight dynamics and handling very nicely, so I don't have any major problems with it. I think it still does the same thing as Microsoft in that sometimes it can just load in a new wind and dump it on you, and that's the problem. But in terms of turbulence in the cruise, I haven't really experienced it much, so I don't know. Vuti2, thanks so much for the £20 super chat. Very generous, Vuti2, very kind of you. Thanks so much. Vuti says, VATSIM problem with A300, A319 connected fine. Maybe next time. Ah, interesting. That is strange. Yeah, check if you're not managing to transmit, check your keyboard assignment, or your assignment key is set up in the simulator, but it sounds like you've already managed that for the A319. But just watch out, because of course X-plane has a great system where it loads in the control configuration for your specific airplane, so you don't have to go in and change it when you're changing airplane, which is really nice. I think that's genius. It should definitely be added to every simulator. But anyway, make sure that your 319 has the same button assigned. That's what I'm saying. But thanks so much, Rudy, for the very kind donation. Thanks for trying to fly along. We'll see you in the next one, unless you're planning to intercept us from Paris. Wouldn't it be great if DCS could log into VATSIM and you could do that? We could be sat in an F-14 at Paris, and then we could take off and join in. Yeah, thank you again, Booty. Very generous of you, very kind. Patrick says, thanks for the answer. I'm studying meteorology even though I'm only 13, trying to get started now. Excellent. Yeah. You're very welcome. Patrick, what did you ask? Patrick, what's your favourite aircraft? Mine is the Twin Otter. And then we've got Patrick Hampson and Patrick G. I see, yeah. John says, it shouldn't be possible for this thing to fly. Incredible feat. Yeah, it is. It's amazing. James Atkinson says, learning about the A320 got me wanting to do it. I'm only wanting the PPL, but cannot wait to give it a go. Just hope the weather is decent. If you're in the UK, weather's been great until right now. Suddenly it's turned. We've had crazy weather in the UK. Airdog says, hi boss, I have a question. How can I see the estimated time of arrival of a waypoint on an Airbus? So go to your flight plan page. And it's just listed in the middle, the estimated time. I think that's true in the 320 as well. If it isn't, all you have to do is press the sideways arrow. In this aircraft it's the next page, but in the 320 it's a sideways arrow. But I think it lists it on the main page, the times. In fact, I'm sure it does. It's always very hard though to be sure. When you're in a simulator you tend to forget these things. Thank you again, Boost2, for the kind donation. We have an answer from... let me see if I can find it. Where's it gone? Ashilta says, VATSIM sort of discourages emergencies. So Ashilta, our VATSIM resident controller. VATSIM sort of discourages emergencies. You can declare one, but you can't give yourself priority on Unicom. and if you're in controlled airspace, the controller can tell you to stop. Oh, there you go. There you go. I can understand that emergencies would be disruptive if everyone was doing them regularly. So, makes sense. Daniel B says, I declared a mayday once, I had an engine fire. Sounds like a good reason to declare one. Indeed. James Atkinson says, do you recommend taking anything to your first lesson? Oof. I would speak to your flight school, see what they think you need. Yeah, that'd be my best advice for that. I'm not very involved with those general aviation at the moment, so yeah, can't be too sure with that. Sunglasses, I would recommend. That's for sure. Definitely take sunglasses. Dan says, excited for an A380 in Microsoft Flight Simulator? Indeed I am. Very much so. Rashid says, there was a... so this is talking about clear air turbulence, or weight turbulence specifically, sorry. Rashid says, there was a Challenger 650 that almost crashed after passing an A380 1,000 feet above reciprocal. A Mentor pilot did a video on it recently. Yes, so that is believable in the sense that, I say believable, obviously it's believable, it's true, but that makes sense because the smaller the aircraft getting affected by turbulence by comparison, then the worse it is. You would know if you're on an A320 and you got hit by A380 weight turbulence, you would know about it. So I can't imagine. I mean, a Challenger is a very small airplane, very light, and the down vortex of a, you know, how much is an A380? 500 tons, or maybe a bit less, but it's hundreds of tons, and it's going to push you about. Yeah, but that's interesting. It's very unusual to actually experience weight turbulence in the cruise. Yeah. But absolutely no reason why you wouldn't get it at all. Patrick says, have you considered the shared cockpit flight? I haven't found a totally convincing shared cockpit system. I expect that's not true. I've tried one that did work quite well. But only in XP11 at the moment. But yeah, I have tried that once. But no, I can't say, there's no plans to do a shared cockpit at the moment. The only problem with the shared cockpit is you have to use certain SOPs, and if you don't both know them, it doesn't work very well. And so you need to find someone who also worked for the same airline. And if you did, then you'd have to use your airline's SOPs, which slightly gives the game away. Fuji2 says, all I have to do now is sort out why the binding for the A330 is not being recognised. Project for this evening. There you go. Yeah, there's always another thing to do with flight sims. James says, Thursday PM, my first flight at Teesside, and it's looking rough. There you go. We'll enjoy it, James, if you get to go. Great fun. Weather is a continuous problem for general aviation flying. No surprise. Ashilta says, I was on London South once and someone declared an emergency because their PC was smouldering. I was speechless. I like that. Yeah. Yeah, declare a mayday because you're... not because your engines are on fire, but your computer's on fire. Well, I mean, I don't see why not. They've got to get that landing done before their computer really catches light. Excellent, excellent. Right, what was I going to do? I wanted to do something with the TCAS. I want to adjust the range. Where is the range? It's on 6 miles and below. There's above norm. Test. I don't know. Oh well. Nope, don't know. Piano Learner says, have you seen Airbus have created a new airline for Beluga ST transport called Air Transport International? No, I did not see that. I did not see that. Daffy says, when are you flying next in real life? It will be soon, very soon. In the next couple of days, as usual. Really, the answer to that now is always probably within the next couple of days, if not the next day. Richard says, the Microsoft Flight Simulator cockpit shared thing got a big update recently. I haven't found anyone to test it with yet. Oh, interesting. Okay, maybe it's getting there. Producer says, what's up, man? Have you ever had an issue where the cockpit cameras are a bit messed up, where the cameras are inside the cargo bay of the plane? Are you talking about in XP11 or in Microsoft Flight Simulator? But no, I can't say I have. But remember, I use everything as default as possible. We can break through. Oh, I didn't close that hatch. Oof. Big no-no. Here's all those latches, by the way, which you can see represented. I think it's them that you can see. Or there's several represented on the lower ECAM. If we go, let's go to door. There they are. I think that's the latches anyway, or certain latches. But no, I haven't had any particular camera issues at the moment, due to Canon. A muted screen says, I almost had to declare an emergency when my feline co-pilot put the flaps up during a slow speed regime. There you go, yep. To be honest, I think in any sort of low speed event or any of the memory item drills, we don't, declaring a mayday is it's something we don't really do. It's done once you've sort of got a handle on the problem, which means you've done your flying or your aviating first, then you're navigating, then you're communicating. So things like a stall, GPWS terrains, TCAS alerts as well. If you get a TCAS RA, as we might now, which seems to happen more and more on my streams. There you go, there's someone just, what's that, 3 miles behind. There you go. Oh, wind shear. Talking about turbulence in the cruise. Now, you couldn't get a wind shear warning at this altitude. The Airbus doesn't have that. It only works below a certain rad out. Because the reality is, it doesn't matter what wind shear you get here. It's not actually going to be an issue. You'll recover the airplane, you would hope. But we might get a TCAS. Yeah, if you get a TCAS, you'll just say your call sign, TCAS RA, and that's the end of it. And that will be done not by the pilot flying, of course, but by the pilot monitoring. And it's just a teletraffic control. We're leaving our level, and we're not going to listen to you anymore until we're out of it. But my point is, yeah, lots of our immediate emergencies we are dealing with. I'm very busy.
Traffic.
There you go, traffic. So yeah, you'll be busy with dealing with it before.
Descend.
I'm not going to do it. You would, of course, in real life always react to these, but we know what's going on here. In the Phoenix and the fly-by-wire now, with their automatic TCAS, the airplane could fly it itself. We'll have to try that out next time. Because last time this person, or somebody did this to us, and then when I wanted them to actually do it, they disappeared. They got booted.
Z36 is climbing up to avoid traffic.
Oh, there we go. So maybe this was that. This seems more accidental. Thank you. And they disappeared. Off above us. They just disappeared from TCAS display. I think it shows up to 27 or 2,900 feet above you. Anyway, there we go. Good. And he says, the only shared cockpit stream I have seen that worked was V1 and another member of his channel who was ATC M4 A320. There you go. Mr. Banana said, Mayday, I'll have to leave soon and need to land ASAP. Yeah, exactly, yeah. So, hello. Yeah? Yes. It's been a while since she's joined us on the stream. I'm assuming you won't say hello. You never do once I get you to the actual microphone. Hello? No. Attention is fully focused on her, so no need to talk anymore. She doesn't join us as much in the summer because she's warm enough sitting elsewhere, but in the winter I'm sure she'll be here every stream. Nothing to say now? Gone all quiet. Don't knock over my tea, thank you. Okay, we have the first officer again. Good news. Yeah, so Rashid is talking about that A380 heading out of Dubai to Oz, probably 500 tons at that point. The Challenger landed okay, but was written off due to extreme G. Wow. Well, there you go, that is interesting. Yeah, so that's unlikely to happen, I would hope, to a larger aircraft, but the Challenger is a very small aircraft, the 380 is a very big one, so yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah. Ed says, going on my first airliner flight in 3 years on Thursday. To say I'm excited is an understatement. What's the approach into Tenerife South like? Have you ever flown? I have indeed flown to Tenerife South. Yeah, it's cool. So, annoying because unless you know... Let's check. Let me check. Thank you for the follow, Ruby Radar. Tenerife South. Let's check the charts. Yeah, it's an ILS on both ends, but it's sat out there. So, you're going to have a lovely holiday. I'm very jealous. Tenerife's a lovely island. Canary Islands are always great fun to visit. It's... Oh, there's the other traffic. Overtaking us. They got a higher true airspeed, being a bit higher than us. I think... Are they in a Beluga as well? I think they were. So they're doing well. We should have gone higher. I don't know what our maximum altitude is. Are we limited? I think we are limited because of the Mach number. Anyway, I digress. So yeah, you've got an ILS onto both ends. I remember doing this one. And I remember the arrival brought us back round the island, and you got this great big volcano. So obviously it depends which way the wind is as to which side you should sit. So there's just no way to book your seats and know that to get a nice view of the island on your way in. But yeah, it's cool. And it does have a tendency, here you go, it's famous for this. Warning, positive wind shear risk, plus 15 to plus 30 knots below 1600 feet if wind exceeds 50 knots at surface in southwest-northwest direction. So that's because the wind is obviously going to be quite strong on the Canaries quite regularly, and this place is famous for getting sudden positive wind shears. It may mean a go around, but it usually isn't an issue to get into Tenerife, but it is possible to get big gusts as you go down the approach later on. Yeah, lovely. Enjoy your holiday. Fantastic. Thanks, John, for your subscription. Range on the transponder panel, says Engineer Gaming. We're going to weather radar panel. Does it work? Auto. Weather. Tilt it slightly down. Yeah, I can't seem to get range unless there's a transponder button on here. Nope, don't know. 11 tons of fuel now, plus 6. Plus 7.6, so that would be 18.6. Yep, that's what we're left with, so that's all good on the fuel. Thanks to Handsome for the follow. That's a good username. Right, I'm falling a bit behind on the chat. Patrick is flying to Rhodes from Bristol on Friday night. Fantastic. Rhodes, another lovely, lovely place to holiday. So enjoy that, Patrick. Great to hear so many people off on holiday. Do you all remember when we started this channel? No one had been in an airplane for months. Fantastic. Oh, enjoy Rhodes. I absolutely love Rhodes. As you all know, I fly to the Greek islands a lot on the channel. Did you just depressurize the cockpit? I hope not. I hope not. Yeah, we managed to sneak through the door without opening it. Yeah, he's holding. Flight drink today, it's tea. I have a cup of tea with me today. Jack says, can anyone help? Got the Phoenix A320, and when tried to open the file to install it, it says error. Oh, I'm afraid I don't know that one. I'd contact Phoenix if you're having a technical issue like that. Patrick says, do you ever squawk 7700 for a laugh? No, definitely not. Yeah, I'll get you in trouble quite quickly. What would you say to ATC if you wanted to divert, says Patrick? You'd try and give them warning in advance. So you would specifically... Someone on a radio check there. I wonder if I should help answer even. Oh, there you go, someone answered. Yeah, so you just tell them, try and give them a heads up. So if you're in a hold, it depends why you're diverting. If it's a sudden diversion, you can guarantee if anyone starts talking about diverting on the radio, all the other aircraft in the area will be listening keenly. A, to make sure it's not someone going to their destination and there's not a problem with where they're going, and B, because it's interesting, isn't it? It's like gossip. It's like, oh wow, well, someone's diverting, wonder why. So yeah, but then you just say, yeah, we're going to need to divert. Call sign, need to divert to so and so. Air traffic will inevitably ask you why, unless it's extremely obvious, like your approach time is in an hour from now. So you say, right, we need to divert then. You wouldn't normally do that if you've been given a silly approach time. It's worth, well, it depends on the situation, doesn't it? But it's not uncommon to wait a bit anyway and see if it suddenly improves. Dear. I stopped massaging the cat for a second and she's not happy about it. I got glared at there. Right. See you next time with Radar. Thanks for joining us. Chris says, I've seen the Canary Islands. I spent days looking at them. Never set foot in them, no. Yeah, Canary Islands are fun. They're dark sand. They can be quite windy, but there's cool things to do there. Great weather. I've had some very, very fun memories on the Canary Islands. Try holding down TARE. We did try that mezzo, yeah, it didn't work though, sadly. Just as that. It's funny how it all just turns off and it just cycles through. So I've been going here to get into the menu. Maybe you can't. I suppose it doesn't really matter. If this display went out to 50 miles, what difference does it make? Because your TCAS blips outside 6 miles, you know, they're not going to give you any TCAS warnings, and it's not overlaid on the navigation display. Right, we're getting to the south of France now. Quite a small range on that, 240. Top of descent coming up, about 160 miles. We will get talking about Bergamo's approach very soon. So fuel, we're doing fine. 10 tons. I think we've got way too much. Although remember, we do need to land with... let's check actually. What do we need to land with? Get rid of our Tenerife charts before we confuse somebody. Let's bring up, while we're here, Bergamo. So we need to land with 2.2 plus 3, so 5.3 tons of fuel. 5.3. So we got 5 tons to burn right now, which I would hope we would not get through. Very thirsty airplane, a ridiculous fuel figure, but it is a big airplane with a lot of drag. Remember, we can't use idle descent in this airplane because there's so much drag it just dives down. Thanks Ryan for the subscription. Have you flown to Barrow, says Patrick? No, but I want to. We have done it in the sim, but I want to fly there in real life. Beluga 314, we are not a Beluga, but we are an A306, almost the same. Ah, there you go. Moose is in an A300-600, so that would explain that they're a bit higher and certainly faster than we are, because we are limited to decimal 68 thanks to that.
All traffic Sigma 56 descending back to 330.
There you go. Moose descending back in front of us. Yeah, they are going to be significantly quicker than us because they don't have the supersonic shockwave going over the nose of the aircraft. Chris says, not so fun seen from a distance while working a carrier flight deck. Oh wow, Chris, that's very cool. Do you work on a carrier flight deck? No, I can imagine you're a bit more focused than that. Andy says, we enjoyed... Oh, Andy, of course, you've been on holiday and back again. How was it? Andy says, we enjoyed our holiday, but my seating plan didn't work. We landed on 24 at Napoli, then took off from 06 on the way home. Oh, no. Well, I don't think that matters too much because the only one. Let's think. So which side did you sit on, Andy, for the departure and arrival? 06 is quite a departure out of Napoli. Often it's weight limited, so aircraft will have to actually depart the other way with a bit of a tailwind. I'm so sorry, Andy. I'm yeah. I can't believe it's come and gone. How was Naples? We should have flown there today. Patrick says, when you were in school, would you say you were ahead of the rest of the class? No, I would not say that. How much fuel does it use per hour? Well, that's easy. That's one I can answer very easily. Fuel flow, it's doing 3 tons per hour, so we're burning per engine, so 6 tons an hour. The A320 is about 2 to 2.5 tons an hour. NEOs are about 2. Dash 8, 800 kilos an hour, just to show you how efficient it is. 6 tons an hour, yeah, ridiculous. But this is a long haul aircraft, remember. Quoting Moose is chilling watching Netflix, yeah, why not? And the stream, very good. Is the weather radar working? Let's have a look. I don't think it is, but I've got it turned on with a tilt of 2.5, so it should show us some ground returns, but no. I believe we must be getting closer to that arriving in Microsoft Flight Simulator, right? I really want the weather radar. It'd be so good. I can make so much to talk about with it. I have not flown GA in Germany. Germany GA has a reputation though, because it's one of the most free places in Europe to fly German aviation. There are a lot of rules that protect GA pilots, give them the right to fly around. So it's famous for having German aviation close to commercial aviation. Why do some airlines, says why do some airlines dim the cabin lights for takeoff and landing? I believe it's just to give you an awareness of what's going on outside the aircraft, because if the lights are on full bright you wouldn't be able to see. And there is some argument it's about your eyes being adjusted to the dark in case you need to leave the aircraft at night. I don't know for sure which is true, or whether it's a bit of both, but I certainly can believe it's to do with being able to see out. Just because, let's say the airplane stops on the runway and the captain decides, yeah, it would be safer if we got off the airplane, and you must obviously never do this until told by the crew or the captain. Absolutely. There's been recent cases of aircraft with passengers trying to evacuate before they're told to, and it's so dangerous. It is unbelievably dangerous to do that, for a load of reasons. The aircraft could still be moving. The engines certainly are likely to be running, so do not do that unless the crew have told you to. But anyway, if there is a problem outside your door or your emergency exit, and the lights are on full bright, you might not see it, so that would be why, I would guess. There you go. Ricardo says also for the emergency lights at night, so yeah, maybe it helps if your eyes are adjusted to the dark so you can see the emergency lights if you need to. Again, super rare, and it's great that everyone has to wonder, why do they do that? Because thankfully it's not something we experience often, if ever, hopefully. Mike's Basement says the flight factor 777 burns somewhere around 8 to 18 tons per hour. Wow, that's quite a range, but that's quite a lot. I'm excited for the INI A300 from Microsoft Flight Simulator Floating Moose, no doubt. Hopefully we can use some of our knowledge from this Beluga for that, because it should be very similar. Talking about Germany, Mr. Banana says, yeah, we have a lot of GA planes on our normal airports too. Always fun to see an A380 waiting behind a Cessna 152. Fantastic. Oh dear, George, yeah. The nose wheel shipping. So that is what happens when the pushback, there's a pin attached to the nose wheel on aircraft when they push back often. Not always, there are different designs. So some pushback trucks are tow barless, they're called, so they actually just scoop up the nose wheel and push that back. Those ones you'll actually know, well, pilots know they're in because you get lifted up. But anyway, if you use a tow bar, then it has what's called shear pins, which are designed, if it feels the wrong sort of force on it, then those pins will shear off, and that way they take the force, they brake, and the airplane doesn't. That's the idea. But yeah, if they snap, then that will leave the airplane effectively rolling free, so you need to apply very carefully the brakes. And he says, well, sat on the right, 3E and 3F. Great holiday though, the Amalfi Coast is to be one of the most beautiful places on earth. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I need to spend more time there, but that's fantastic. Sat on the right on approach to 24. Ah, so you missed Vesuvius, and then for departure of 06 you would have missed it as well because it would have been on your left. Yeah, I see. Oh well, that's always the way. Elitist Maggie says, don't get too excited for Microsoft Flight Simulator Weather Radar yet. All they're adding in Sim Update 10 is the ability for third-party planes to get the same bitmap data that the default planes have. I see. Which is quite accurate, but overly precise, I understand. Is that right? Yeah, Mike Spaceman, I'd agree with that. Lauren B says, if you want a mix of airliners and GA, go to KSNA. 10 miles out, tiled school in sight, light traffic, 5 miles ahead, 1 o'clock, same direction, altitude, and then follow me in. There you go. KSNA, where's that? Martin says, what are your thoughts on upcoming X-Plane 12? I'm excited to see it. I like X-Plane. I've used it a lot, had a lot of good memories and times. So, yeah. Something I look forward to seeing. Meld Clan is a new member of Dana Virtual. Excellent, enjoy. Takes a bit of time, or not, it doesn't take too long to get used to the software. It's very good. Daniel B says, Captain Joe did a video on that. It's so the eyes are adjusted to the darkness and so the fire crews can see in should something happen. Oh, that's interesting. Didn't think about the fire crews seeing in. Richard Darsley says, I always wondered why some camera crew try to pull the window shutters down at night. If they're trying to close them, it would be to keep the sun out on long haul flights. Otherwise, the sun will stream into the cabin when it rises and everyone else will be trying to sleep. They do that quite a lot. Misa says, hello, first time I managed to catch one of your streams. Currently stuck at an airport for the past 12 hours. Got another 4 to go. Goodness me, that's a bit miserable. Well, I hope it's going smoothly enough for you, Miso. Thanks for joining us on the stream, though. Wow. We've all had delays at airports, but 12 hours is longer than I've ever had to spend sat in just the airport. Goodness me. Ebos says, with the hot weather, have you got more hot brakes? No, not really. The hot brakes... It's a function of weight and distance. You could give yourself hot brakes in the middle of winter just as easily, generally. The only thing is it can be harder to cool brakes in the warm weather, especially if there's no wind. That's the only thing. But no, if you land heavy with medium auto brakes and use medium right down to a stop, then you can give yourself hot brakes. Because remember, of course, the difference between 500 degrees and ambient temperature isn't, you know, much different whether it's 10 degrees outside or 30 degrees outside. We feel that difference a lot, but the brakes are used to going up to sort of 400 degrees quite comfortably. George says the pilot sounded quite grumpy. Yes, I can imagine they would, because it's unless it was right at the end of the push, it probably means now they'll need a whole load of a committee to come out and work it out. He just says, no, I think some plane broke down causing a domino effect of delays. It's been here since 5 AM, so I'm assuming it has technical issues. Ah, interesting, Misa. Where are you? Where in the world? Which airport are you stuck in? Bertie Moose says, when you're cruising in real life, do you get snacks? Absolutely. I've always said this. It surprises me that we're allowed drinks and snacks on flight decks, but you are in pretty much, I can't think of any airline that wouldn't allow it. The simple reason is you need to be able to eat while you're at work, otherwise they'd have to give you constant breaks. Or they'd need another pilot so you could go into the cabin and eat. So it seems crazy because you can imagine having food and drink in a flight deck, it's the sort of place you'd think they wouldn't allow it. But no, that's there's no way they'll get rid of that, because otherwise we'd have to have extra pilots or more brakes, or have to land halfway to the Canaries, have to land in Portugal so we can have lunch. Okay, SNA is John Wayne, Orange County. That's where Harrison Ford landed on the taxiway. Ah, I see. If you zoom in enough, you can see the mountains. We're getting there. Oh, where are we? Still over. Let's go back to the terrain. The radar's not doing anything. Still over France. But basically, we're going to cut over the mountains. There's Zurich, and then we're going to head into Bergamo. So we'll very shortly have to catch up with that and the brief. No side stick, Lord Glorious, indeed. Mike says most of the carbon brakes, which operate best around 300 to 400 degrees, absolutely. They're very grippy at that temperature. It can make it quite hard to park. If you're in an Airbus that's parking after a short runway landing or something, or a long taxi in, because that's when the brakes tend to heat up the most when you're taxiing in, it seems, or long taxis. Well, I say the most. That can also add to their heating up. But yeah, if you're then trying to park with 400 degree brakes, they really grip and they can judder a bit because they're very, very, very overly grippy. They're very good at those temperatures. A muted screen says, does the Airbus have optical fire detection? We used to close shades to keep the sun from setting off the fire detection accidentally. No, I don't think there's no closing the shades for the fire detection. It's just to keep the cabin cool. So I don't believe it has optical in the most parts of the cabin, but I don't know for sure, I must admit. Miso is in Kutaisi in Georgia. Wow, fantastic. Yeah, well, I say fantastic. Sorry T, you're stuck there for so long. But yes, I hope your day improves soon. Lauren B says, what else would be have a tray table for if not to eat your lunch and have coffee off of? Exactly. Exactly. Landing for tea sounds very civilized, says Richard. Yes, so we'd have to land twice actually on the way to Tenerife. You'd land once for lunch, maybe somewhere in south of France, and then again in Lisbon for tea. Then you do the last hop to Tenerife, by which point you'd be out of hours, and you'd have to get off and go to the hotel. Very nice. George, that's a great question. George is asking about CTOTs and how long a flight plan is valid for. What's it all related? What are they talking about? So, CTOT is there's all airports use different names for this. TSATs, TSOTs, CTOTs. It's your takeoff time, basically. Computed takeoff time, calculated takeoff time. Anyway, it's related to your slot because air traffic control will give you that takeoff time based on your slot. If you don't have one, it would just be based on when you were meant to push back. But if you have a slot from air traffic control, so remember, most of the time we fly without slots. A slot means air traffic had said, okay, we need to restrict the number of flights in this bit of airspace or into this airport. So they will assign a slot to your flight, and that will give you a calculated takeoff time. That takeoff time will be your CTOT, or it's sometimes called different things. There's also different. Then there'll be more related to it. So you got your target off blocks time, which is the time you were meant to leave. So that's what you say. I'm ready to leave at this time. So your airline will initially file that. If you've got delays, you'll file a new one. Air traffic will look at that and then work out when you're going to be in the air, and then say, no, you can't go through this airspace. Then it's too busy. So we're going to give you a slot of half an hour later. You can come through our airspace. So then you'll get a 30-minute slot on your flight, which means you can take off half an hour later than you were supposed to. That will then generate a takeoff time, and then you will be allowed to start up your engines according to your TSAT, which will be related to that takeoff time. It's all interconnected, but basically it's just loads of restrictions. But yeah, so the problem with the CTOT is if you miss it. So let's say you tell the airport, okay, we were ready in 10 minutes, so you tell them we're going to go in 10 minutes, and then your takeoff time is 10 minutes after that. Well, that's all fine. Let's say you push back and have a problem or something, or your nose gear towing bar breaks while you're pushing back. Well, you need to be in the air close to that takeoff time that you were given. If you miss it, air traffic control will have to look at it again and say, well, you've missed your time when we said you could come through. It's still really busy, so you can't come through for another hour now because we've run out of space because we've assigned all the other slots elsewhere. So then what happens is you are a bit stuck. Now, if you've already started taxiing, it doesn't happen like that. Air traffic control will let you go because you're underway effectively, usually, or they'll negotiate a delay. But the reality is you're supposed to get to your runway and take off within a certain time frame. You can't usually be more than 5 minutes early, and 10 minutes late is quite common. So pilots are very concerned with CTATs and TSOTs and all of this stuff, because if you miss it, it's a big delay. And remember, pilots don't want to be delayed. I know some people think that we don't mind, it's overtime or whatever. No, it's not overtime. We're just late home. So we don't want to be delayed any more than the passengers, I can promise you that. So we do a lot to try and make sure we don't get hit with those delays, including if we get given a big delay, like a 2-hour slot, we'll try and talk to our traffic control, refile at a different flight level, try a different route. We'll do this through our flight planners usually, not us and not air traffic control because they're too busy, but there you go. Because there'll be flight planners in airlines that can see where the routings are that are getting delayed. Also, missing when it's very bad news. Once you've missed it, you just don't know when the next one will be. So that is always bad. Sometimes the slot will be in a couple of hours anyway, but you're bored and tell air traffic control you're ready. Let's say somebody's trying to take off out of Bristol before you to go to this, and they've got a slot through a bit of airspace that's too busy, and you're over in Cardiff, and that aircraft is pushing back and its tow bar breaks, so they miss their slot, and you're sitting there with your passengers on board. Your slot's later, but now there's a gap, so then air traffic control will say, you can go, and then your slot suddenly comes forward and off you go. So that's why you get passengers on board and get ready to go, because you need to be ready earlier rather than later. I wonder if that was interesting. But that is a big part of day-to-day life of operating aircraft in Europe, certainly. Richard Dudley says the extreme landing slot procedure was in the Berlin airlift. If you messed up your landing for any reason at all, instead of going around, they sent you back to where you came from. Yeah, there you go. If it's just too busy. Computed takeoff time. Thanks, Lauren V. Yeah, CTOT computed takeoff time. There's loads and loads, like I say, TSATs and whatever else, but yeah, they often mean the same thing. No worries, George. Thanks for asking, and thanks for watching. Patrick says, if an interesting plane is landing behind you, do you taxi slowly on purpose to see it? You might think that. I couldn't possibly comment. Mark says negotiating equals banging the controller a few quid. Yeah. George says, thanks. It was very interesting hearing them talking about it and negotiating getting out ahead of people. Yeah, so what happens is people will start fighting. So if you're in an airport that doesn't have many taxiways or very busy, and you're looking left and right and everyone's sitting there with slots going to a similar route, which could be the place if you're in an airport like Bristol, which would be obviously a lot of holiday flights and short, small taxiways, then you don't want to get stuck at the back of the queue and miss your takeoff time. Like I said, typically not such an issue, but there we go. Thanks for the follow, not Bill James. George says, I wonder if VATSIM would even slightly work if we all had to abide by slots, etc. Yeah, I wonder. But they do that. They do restrict departure flows. But yeah, slots are heartbreaking when they arrive. You'll be sat there having a good day, and then you just suddenly get hit with a 1.5 hour delay to your next flight. There's nothing you can do about it until you get on the grounds, and it'll be a flight home inevitably, and you'll have to just try and work it out from there. It's rare to go over an hour with a slot, but things like runway closures, severe weather, this all generates them. Right, we're coming up at the Alps. It's time, as I promised, to get thinking about our approach. So let's go back to our charts. Bergamo next. Refresh the weather. I can't believe we have a controller there. Let me just check. No. So it is 1804. So light winds, cav okay, varying around. So we can add either way. 29 degrees Celsius, nice and warm. QNH of 1011. Lovely. Does it tell us the elevation here? There it is, 800 feet. So we got that set already. Good stuff. So I should actually put the full arrival in. Mr. Moss, good question. Mr. Moss says, in fact, 2 questions here. Not Bill James says, have you thought about ever making a video on intersection departures in the Phoenix? No, I haven't actually. Intersection departures, there's not a whole lot to them, but it's something I could definitely consider. So thanks, Not Bill James. It's just a performance issue, really. Other than that, it's basically the same. But I'll have a think. And Mr. Moss says, have there ever been any safety incidents caused by crews rushing to make their slot? I wonder how that responsibility is distributed. Yes, so the classic one would be telling air traffic control you're ready when you're not quite there, or you're still briefing, or you're, let's say you've done everything but you haven't had a chance to brief yet because you've been sorting out problems with in the cabin and bags and so on. And then you tell air traffic you're ready because your slot's coming up in 2 minutes and you've got to go now. That's where you have to really watch yourself not to get rushed into it, because you're right. Now, whether there's been safety incidents, I don't know. There will be, I'm sure people have probably rushed a bit and then later thought, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Safety incidents sounds a bit serious. I would hope that no professional pilots would actually put safety at risk, that they might have perhaps done things not the way they would normally. Or maybe they just, yeah. But unusual, because typically for a slot, and I'll explain why now, that's not usually a problem. Typically with a slot you have more time, because of course the slot is a delay, so you'll have had all the time to set up you would normally have if you were going on time, and that time will pass and then you'll be sitting there waiting, so you have even more time to be prepared. So I would hope not, is my answer to that, I suppose. Okay, I'm going to test something here because it keeps telling me to do it. YouTube keeps telling me to insert an ad. I'm going to run the ads, and I want to, if anyone gets any, let me know if you're watching the live stream. I am sorry, I know it's annoying. I'm really curious what it actually does, because I can't believe it does anything. And I think we tried this ages ago and just nothing happened. So here goes. I'll just give it a second to catch up. Okay, I'm going to test something here. For those of you on Twitch, you won't notice anything, of course. Who does anything? And I? Or maybe ads inserted, maybe it just talks about, maybe it means the replay later. Checkpoint says, no ad here, watching on Twitch. There you go. Yeah, not a bad idea. I have absolutely no clue. I mean, I'm certain it doesn't generate any revenue, but I'm just curious what it does. Oh yeah, people got adverts. Interesting. Hayden's a premium YouTuber. There you go. So Hayden is already contributing to us by default. No ad for anyone on YouTube Premium. Thank you for watching. If you are on YouTube Premium, Captain Wazza says didn't get an ad, just an echo. Got an ad. Okay, it does do it. How interesting. I have no idea why we should do it. It says if you insert an advert with people watching, it will generate revenue for the channel, but I struggle to believe that. Maybe if you're watching with thousands of people, perhaps. No ad on the normal count for Isaac. Probably depends on which country as well. Showed an ad with the 54321 skip, says George. Okay, good. At least it didn't last long. Ad revenue for the first officer, says Leo. Well, let's see what happens. Mr. Possum wants to see the Beluga. Can't blame you there. Mr. Moss, talking then again about slots, says it only came to mind when you were talking about spontaneous slots appearing, as it might catch crew off guard. I imagine ATC would only assign a slot like that if they deemed it had reasonable wiggle room. Yes, sometimes you get slots and you have to just say, well, we're not making that, so we'll just miss it. But that's where that target off blocks time comes in. That's where you tell air traffic control when you think you'll be ready. Yeah. Laurie says makes 3 pence for YouTube, 1 pence for the 0.1 pence for the captain. Yeah, indeed. Anyway, right. Anyway, I should be talking about this because the whole reason I went over to my browser was not to inundate you with adverts. So I do apologise for that. It was actually to check the arrival, which we don't have one. So good. So either runway we fancy. Let's find airport chart. We can start down late. That down arrow is coming up soon, but we'll dive down so quickly we won't need it. So they go runway 1028. The wind was sort of varying around. So let's go in. I'm hoping to come in for 28 because I want to fly an arrival. If I can find it. Working from memory here. So Bergamo has a VOR right on top of it. This could work. Adina. We're coming in via SRN, Sorrento. I don't see any arrivals from that specifically. But we could take the Adina for Sierra to the VOR. And then fly. That's the Zulu. It doesn't include a procedure. Ah, Yankee might. There it is. So we go to the VOR, then we can go to Ori, and then we can fly out, round, and in. Now it could be a bit of a challenge to do that, just because how high it will be 6,000 feet after ME 861 to the Beg. And then we'll fly out and in. Let's see what happens if we try and code that in. Let's see. So Star ILS Yankee 28, and we decided on the Adina. Oh no, got to scroll. For Sierra. No, it doesn't like that. Wrong runway. 2 Echo, 2 Tango, 3 Sierra. Is it possible one of my charts is out of date though? That seems very possible. So 2 Echo, 2 Tango, 3 Sierra. Yeah, there's the 3 Tango now. I think they've all moved on one stage. So that will take us out to Ori and then in. So that will work actually. Let's do the Adina 3 Tango. And that allows us a bit more wiggle room to get down to 6 for Ori. Okay. Adina 3 Tango / 2 Tango. And there's the transitions. What's the difference in the transitions? Ori 1 or Ori 2? Ah, so that will be this. So we want the one that goes outbound on 1, 2, 3 degrees. Let's try 2. Oh, that didn't work. It just goes Ori CI28, so it goes Ori CI28 and back in again. Yeah, that's no good. Okay, keep trying. We will solve this puzzle. Ori 2, let's see if that worked. So Bergamo 13. Ori, and then 117 degrees. So that's probably the A and B. out to Lassav, out to Beg 13. Yeah, but that's the wrong outbound. That's not correct either. So the reason that's not correct is it's the arrival, it's the procedure here for smaller aircraft. We're too big, so that turn will be too tight. We can't fly along that line. So we need the Ori 1. So SRN, Adina. And then Ori 125, that's better, out to 13 miles. Background, 185 knots to Lassav and in. Let's swap that over to the landing as well. There we go. Good. Okay. And then we're going to land, fly down the ILS. It's a pretty straightforward ILS. It's, let's see, what is it? 3 degrees. Good stuff. It's a DME co-located. 282 ILS DME 108.7. And it should read 0 at the threshold, which is great. 754 feet elevation. We can put in the minima. Hayden got an advert for a second-hand Beluga. Oh, I'm missing a few things in chat, so I do apologise if I missed anything here. Bit of confusion. Good, yeah, so let's put in Cat C, decision height of 236, which we put in up here. Now, Flying Fabio said you don't do this. You're not allowed to use height for Cat 1 because it's not in the protected area, which was interesting news to me. So there you go. So I believe you'd actually just set it on here with this bug, which we would set to 990. So I went the long way around there, something like that. Good. If we go around, obviously make a left turn. So straight ahead 2.6 miles, left turn 122. You're effectively downwind, and then we should go out here and then turn back round. We're going to climb to 6,000 feet. So 6,000 feet. Yeah, we'll do that if we need it. I wonder if it's coded in here. 1300 intercept up to 4,000 or 11. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, good. Devani says, hi from Jamaica, 320 Sim Pilot in chat, love your content, I hope to become an airline pilot after I'm finished with university. Excellent, good luck to you, enjoy your studies, and thanks for coming along, thanks for saying so. Right, anyway, there it is. Oh, there's a nice picture of it finally. So yeah, in, out, round, land, go around if we need it. Good. Adina's behind SRN, so let's clear that. Let's clear out SRN and go direct to Adina. There we go, Adina nav. Now, we're quite limited because of the terrain, so a big threat for this approach is getting that terrain right as we descend down. Here's our start, so after Adina we can go down to flight level 130. Now we know that we'll get down to that in absolutely no time. Let's put constraints up. So I'm actually going to stay up here. That's 20,000 feet to lose. So we're just over the Alps now. Beautiful, looking nice. So we'll start our descent fairly shortly, but loads of room. Don't want to descend on top of the Alps because this thing will just dive down. So I don't want to descend too much. Go down to flight level 200 or something. But again, this aircraft, we've been caught out before on stream where we end up diving down and we have absolutely no trouble. We just end up flying level for ages, burning lots of fuel. So yeah, good luck to you, Devani. I hope you get to live your dream. Matthew Presley, good to see you. Matthew says, just panic and do Southwest taxi to meet the time. Talking about the CTOTs area. Good to see you, Matthew Presley. I hope you're doing well. Our American pilot converting onto the 767, I believe. Mr. Banana says, either runway you fancy, you should try 1230 then, yeah. Okay, I think I've got the chats merged again, so that should all be working now. Good. So, other things we need to do in this aircraft. We've got the approach checklists. Don't think there's any landing calculator, no, so that's fine. Quite low to be flying over the out. Well, not low, but lower than I usually fly over them, so they do look like they're whizzing by a bit faster. Let's go and have a look at this card to make sure we know our landing speeds. Now, the runway in Bergamo is, let's check, 2,800 meters. It's pretty long, and we don't have too much of an inset, so our landing distance available is not going to be too bad. We're going to vacate onto the north apron, I think. Yeah, we won't try runway 3012. Yeah, see. Yeah, so vacating off at Echo. I think that's going to be good for a flat 15 and 20 landing. I think. With mid auto brake. No, it'd be low auto brake, wouldn't it? George Lumpkin, good to see you. Got to go. My burger is here. Enjoy the rest of the flight. I'll catch up on the replay. Enjoy your burger, George. Everyone's having nice food tonight. Enjoy that, George. We'll see you next time. You'll see the chaos on the replay, indeed. Good. So, yeah, low auto brake. I have absolutely no idea what the landing distance would be on this. That would work in the 320 quite nicely, with a bit of manual override if needed. So I think we'll do similar. It's very hot on the ground. Now, speaking about hot brakes, although it doesn't make too much difference, what you might think about here is maybe running max reverse with low auto brake to reduce the temperature if you're worried, if you don't have brake fans available, which I don't think we do on this aircraft. Anyway, so that is the plan. Also, nav aids, how do we want those tuned? Probably worth putting in the VOR. Do we need to tune the ILS? I don't think we do we? Oh, I hope not. Let's put in the runway LIME28. Nope, that's no good. There we go. And let's check out the weights, make sure we have the right ones. So there we go, landing at 107 tons. That's flaps 30-40. How do we change that round? There is a way. Anyway, okay, well forget it then. We'll do 30-40. Gives us a V approach of 129. VREF 124. 129. It's quite a slow speed. Another way to help keep the brakes cool for the turnarounds. Good. Right, full landing effectively then. Which is what you'd normally do in a 320, to be fair. Right. Time to start down. After Adina, we're safe down to flight level 130. Getting past the worst of the hills. I'm going to leave it later. I'm going to do a VNAV descent. Sorry, a level change. I think we can make it in no trouble. I remember that this is just a ridiculous approach. Sorry, descent rate. Checkpoint says burger sounds nice right now. Burger place in the vicinity here, but at least got some snacks. Very nice. Enjoy those, checkpoint. I don't have any videos covering the QRH Jamlin, as I don't have one to use at the moment. AP May, thank you so much for your $5 super chat. Really appreciate it. AP May says, thanks again for a great stream with such a unique aircraft. Glad I could catch the stream live. Really appreciate it, AP May. Very kind of you, and thanks for joining us. And yeah, I absolutely love flying this in the sim. It's the only time we've had it, I think, in the history of flight simulation. Oh, there's the X-Plane sun shining through. So yeah, so glad you're enjoying it, and thanks so much for the very kind donation. Really appreciate it, AP May. Right, there we go, passing Adina. We could start down. I'm sort of playing chicken with it now. 40 miles to TZO. And we can only go down to 130 until TZO anyway. 40 miles to lose 20,000 feet. I mean, that's not a lot, but again, it does have a ridiculous amount of drag. And then, hello to you. Thanks for joining us. What all do we like on burgers? Whatever it's on mine, it must have pickles. Ah, well, no, I can definitely say I don't like pickles on my burgers. I don't mind them anymore, but I wouldn't choose them. Misa says the plane that's taking me to Warsaw just landed. Maybe speed up. Thomas says favourite approach you've flown. I always struggle with that question. I do struggle with that. It's usually ones involving terrain or something spectacular like that. Some of the Greek islands are really pretty. Going into Funchal is quite an experience. Whether it's my favourite though, I don't know. I like flying into Athens. I fly that a lot on the channel. Thank you again, AP May, though, for that very kind donation. Right. So we've got a plan. Airplane's all set up. Mostly. So yeah, my question is, do I need to do anything to auto thrust when we land, or will it automatically idle? I suppose if it doesn't, I'll just press the disconnect buttons. They are assigned. Let me just check they work. So we're in Mac mode. Yes. They do work. Re-engage it. Good. Right. I don't want to go down yet. I think it's too early. Lauren V, what kind of cheese for your burger? So Lauren V is American, hence is used to that sort of choice. In Europe and the UK, that is just if it either you have a cheeseburger or you don't, and you're not getting any choice in the cheese. I can tell you that. So you get a burger and it will come with cheese. It's usually just sort of like the American style squares, but yeah. That sort of luxury of choosing the kind of cheese does not tend to happen here. I can tell you that, so I really don't know. Athens is an awesome airport. Airgate is so far from baggage reclaim though. Got to home alone it to get the bike back from baggage reclaim. I see, yeah. First officer Jaden, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing well here. Thomas agrees, it's miles. Right, let's do it. Level change. It says retards, i.e. thrust idle. There they come. Auto thrust is armed for when we get there. And at Mach 0.68 we are going to just zoom down. The VDEV scale shows us as high, but we know that that's obviously wrong because it's set up for the wrong airplane. Bergamo is just over here somewhere. Dave says, but in Europe the cheese is actually cheese and not what passes for it in the USA. I don't know about American burgers. Lauren V says that's insane. Big difference between American sharp cheddar, Gruyere, Gouda, Swiss mozzarella, or even feta. Or yeah, no. Good luck getting any choice on that. The burger is usually only one option on the menu. So yeah, some places are a bit more keen and they'll offer sort of barbecue style or things like that. And there are a few proper burger restaurants that probably do offer a choice in cheese. Caramelized onion and blue cheese, says AP May. Oh, these will sound great. AP May, pepper jack, or smoked cheddar. Wow. Jane says we have Parmos in Teesside over cheese. Right, we are zooming down. Next checklist will be the approach checklist. No cabin crew to worry about, but we'll do that when we're on the altimeters. Let's get an updated QNH. 1011. That's all correct. Still 29 degrees. Yeah, that hasn't changed. Good. So there we are. Diving down at 0.67. This would probably be quite a noisy airplane if you were sitting underneath it. Like having the speed brakes out. Green King pubs often do a blue cheeseburger, says Not Bill James. Now, I do like those pubs. They hit the spot well with me, Green King pubs. I like their beer too. Alex says you only need one type of cheese, the best craft singles. There you go. Hayden says, is there a secret to getting an upgrade? Will wearing very smart clothes help? Well, I've never managed by doing that. Or by telling them it's my birthday. So I don't think there is, I'm afraid. Unless you know someone who can help you out. And by help you out, I mean that, like, is your friend or family member operating the flight? It does depend on the airlines, though, of course, what the policy is. Lauren V says you'd have a Greek burger that would be dressed up like gyros for the feta. Pretty common. A lot of Midwestern diners opened by Greek immigrants. Wow, interesting. What do you call cheese? It's not your cheese, natural cheese, says James. Oh dear, I'm starving. Right, let's get there then. 23,000 feet, we can get on to 130 after TZO, we can go further. This is going to be one of our most efficient descents, so down to 6,000. I'm confident we're going to pass TZO above 13, so let's put 6 in. And set the QNH of, not there. Our friend's already ahead of us. Oh, well ahead of us. Bergamo traffic. Beluga 314 descending from Tango Zulu Oscar towards the Oscar Romeo India. Currently 15 miles away. Good, so 15 miles down to 6, 21,000 feet. Yeah, it is. You might as well have full speed breakout. Incredible. Oh, I know what's going on. The dome light's on. Oh, no, it is just the sun. Hopefully we'll get down before the sun truly sets. Right, let's run the approach checklist. Signs, set, briefing, confirmed, ECAM status. Yeah, all checked. Altimeters are set, 1011 all round. Minimums are set both. It says both, but I assume it means both sides. So I've set one there. Let's set this one as well then. There you go. Ignition continuous relight, so it wants that. It's demanding it for arrival. And landing elevation is set at 800. Let's just check it's still there. Yep. Good. Stig says, how rapid descent is possible for the cabin pressure to keep up? 6,000 feet per minute. If you do that sustained in the A320, eventually the pressurization will complain at you that there's a low differential pressure. Not much you need to do, it just says reduce the vertical speed. So, yeah, if you do 6,000 feet per minute for a while, you can get yourself into that situation. Right, the only problem we got is we're actually really fast as well. So, let's do it. Full drag, here we go. Look at that, excellent. Nose down. So we are doing, 5,000 feet per minute. Brilliant stuff. So the only problem is we're diving towards our friend who's on the ILS, but we'll be passing well above them, I would hope.
326 is 5 mile final, runway 28.
So they are just down here, actually. There they are. Oh, there's Ryanair. There's the Speedbird traffic. So yeah, vertical separation more than enough for this. Getting towards 10,000 feet. I'm going to put the lights on now. Oh yeah, we left those lights on. Oh well, that won't be an issue. Fuel on board, 5.4 tons. So we've used a lot of fuel. We did fly a bit fast. We said we need to land with 5.4. So yeah, it's a thirsty aeroplane. There's no doubt about it. Right, heading outbound now. Speed limit will be on the turn, no doubt. So it's actually a max 185 knots. There's 9,000 feet. On the outbound, we can descend to 4,000 feet. So 4,000 feet in the window. So this is not safe. No, it is safe, but it's not sensible. You're at high risk here with high terrain and descending at 5,000 feet per minute of getting a GPWS warning. Because remember, we're only a minute and a half at this point from hitting the ground with that vertical speed at 7,000 feet. So we're only about 6,000 feet above the ground. We're doing 5,000 feet per minute. So it's pretty soon at 6,000 feet, because it's about just, well, oh yeah, we better slow down for the turn. That's come quicker than expected, but there we go. Yeah, it's pretty close to setting off the GPWS. So it's never going to make it around that turn. There's 5,000 feet though. Let's wind the speed right back. Right, it's going to point us right at the hills. So we're going to intervene. We're going to push that in, and then I'm going to go heading select, and we're going to turn right. We can go to the south. Just extend it. I think that's Lake Como. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, it was not going to handle that. Because what it did was it predicted the speed and it turned early to cut in. Never going to work. So we're level at 4,000 feet. Speed brakes can come in. Oh. We nearly got away with that. But yeah, not going to happen. Let's put the... No, don't do that. Round we go. Yeah. How do I get that back to norm? I want the... No. I want the bank angle.
Traffic Boeing 7 Alpha Sierra, 10 miles out, ILS 28 to left to land.
There we go. Norm. Good. So that was the other problem. It couldn't turn. Oh, let's get the speed too low. Come on, aeroplane. So 4,000 feet. We'll stay clean. We'll fly tight, turn around here. Quittermoo says, just landed, I had autobrake max. One of my reversers didn't work, but I was already at 60 knots. Yeah, so max you wouldn't use for landing. I believe that's the same in the A300 series, but there we go. Good. Let's intercept from this side then. So that's going to be a heading of... In fact, we can bring it all the way around to come in from the south, so 300s. Let's get the speed back. So we'll go to flaps 1, which was actually 15 and 0. Ronald M says the star brought you to the NDB. Indeed, yeah, or which makes it look a bit shorter. Yeah, it does, especially if you're doing 282 knots. Yeah, yeah, it's that 15 degrees bank. That was the killer, actually. Or no, it was already hopeless, but yeah, having the bank limited really hindered the ludicrousness of that approach. Anyway, 4,000 feet is safe to intercept from 10 miles. I can see the glide slope above us. And we do have the distance. We're 14 miles out. So this could work out for an intercept 300s, which is the most we can do. Let's slow down now to the 185. And let's... Is it that one? There we go. Lands. So we've got glide slope and lock, blue and arms. Glide slope's above us. Just waiting for that localizer to come in. Taking us to CI28, which is at 10.2. So I'm actually going to cheat a little bit. I'm confident in the automatics that they will be able to handle a more than 30-degree intercept. Air traffic control can't vet you for that. George, I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well as well. We're having a bit of fun here. Beautiful. I mean, we should be looking out the window and enjoying it a bit. There's the runway. Bergamo traffic, Beluga 314, joining the ILS for runway 28 at 10 miles. There's some traffic flying around. I wonder if they're coming in ahead of us. Now here's the question. Is it actually tuned? 187, 282. I think it should be, but it doesn't look like it is. Nope, I'm not going through that, thank you. Right towards the terrain. We're holding an A320 fuselage, but we are not having any success tuning it. Where did I need to tune it in this aircraft? takeoff approach. We did select it. Oh yeah, you can put the NDA in there. But it's not there. Not getting this to work. It's not appearing on the PFD. I set this to ILS. We're going to need some outside help here. What are we doing wrong? Radio panel. Of course. Nav 1, ILS, there it is. Unbelievable. Right, let's turn downwind. 3 circuits to get in here, no problem at all. Won't take too long. Okay, 1087. It's just got presets, which is something you can save in there. Inbound course 282. There we go. What's it done there? What has it done there? Oh, it suddenly picked it up, that's why. Interesting, yeah. Right. Stop descending airplane. Vertical speed. It's gone down to 3. 4's in the window. Right, up you go please, 1500 feet per minute. Heading 106 is still going towards. That's good. Let's get rid of this because that is cheating a little bit. 1087, 282. 107, 282. Okay, there we go. Ooh, lagging on the auto thrust. Right, there we go. Now we get the DME showing and the localizer, which is much more reassuring. So heading downwind now. Yeah, thanks Matthew. Yeah, it's set up like 7.6 indeed. Having to tune the ILS yourself. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. No, 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 no. I've got to disarm that mode. That's what's going on. Goodness me. Amazing how determined it is. So basically what's going on in the 320, you can override the glide slope and then it's dumped it all out. But here we go, it's fighting us back.
Bergamo traffic, Boeing 7 Alpha Sierra is clear.
This is pretty shocking.
Echo Charlie, taxiing to the main airport.
Yeah, our friend there has already landed in this time. We're still wobbling around. This is the new roller coaster approach, Kristen, indeed. Oh well, we were hoping the sun would still be up, but I'm making it as difficult as possible for that to be true. 10 miles now, airfield's behind us. Just going to take us to the right a little bit. Procedurally in this area, 4,000 feet safe. We're also visual outside. Lots of airports in this area. No, it's doing it again. I don't have a clue. Autopilot off. Why it's planning to go there. Right, autopilot's off. Speed mode is still engaged on the auto thrust. Let's go. Flight director's off. That one's off. Let's bring up the FPV. Oh no, you can't have the FPV. Oh right. We're going to go around the corner. 13 miles out. Let's climb to 4,000 feet and intercept from 10 miles. We don't want to be at 3,000 feet flying this turn. Now, certainly, the way to fix this would be correctly using the automatics, but I'm going to do a bit of manual flying. Because I don't understand why it keeps diving back down again. It is being a bit snippy today, agreed. I'm not going to sit here arguing with it again. As I say, no doubt something I'm doing wrong here. Oh, that's okay, QWERTY moves. I won't have the capacity to do that now. So 180 knots, 13 miles out, 15 miles out. We're okay on the speed. There's 4,000 feet. Leveling. Good view of the PFD. There we go. 4,000. We've got to watch out because there is a pitch power couple on this aircraft. There's coming in on an intercept heading there. So as the thrust spools up and down, it changes the trim required. Hence, manually flying an aircraft with a pitch power couple, it's easier to do it with manual thrust. So, let's do it. Manual thrust. 4,000 feet. Manual thrust flashing. I don't know if there's a way to stop it flashing, but there we go. The only problem here is I don't have any datums. I'm not sure what sort of thrust that we should be using at flat 15 in this position. Final approach at 130 knots. Do we have an LS page? No. Go with that master caution. Alright, I'm not going to see any of the chat now, of course. Bit too much thrust there. You see that? So it just pushes the aircraft out of trim immediately. Glide slope's coming in. Localizer still isn't. So that's not great. I'm hoping to intercept it soon. There we go. Localizer. Round to 282. $4,000 feet. There's us on the localizer close enough. We're 10 miles out, 200 knots, so let's bring the power back to idle. That's going to make that easier. 129 approach, so I'm going to set that up. Oh, 1,000 feet per minute is a bit much. 130 would do just fine. Okay, next stage of flap. See how that affects the trim. 180 knots, so something like 800 feet per minute probably required about here. Let's do 160 knots for now. Bit of nose down trim required, no surprise there. Get the engines back up. Let's go gear down. Let's not make our life difficult for the fun of it. Arm the ground spoilers. $1,100 feet per minute too much. Let's get that vertical speed under control. Get the power up now, so it just means less changes going on later. Flaps to 3, whatever that equates to. I think that's 15 degrees and 20 degrees. 800 feet per minute, that's looking good on glide slope. And flaps to full. Power is probably going to be above 50%, I'd imagine, at a high flap setting like that. But our vertical speed should not be above 1,000 feet per minute, I can tell you that. Yeah, look at that, it's going to be like 60%. Ooh, don't level off, that's not what you want. This is where datums are just so much more useful. You need to know what you're doing. Anyway, we've got medium auto brake, we've got the landing flap, we've got landing gear. We are visual. Looking at my traffic, Beluga 314 landing at runway 28, currently 3 miles. 58% seems to be working for us. A bit higher on the vertical speed. No, 58 is not enough. 65, let's try that. So we're going to have to go above the reference thrust right now just to get back. There we go. That's too much, surprise, surprise. Back to, let's try just over 60. Plane looks good. Coming a bit of an angle here. Over that centre line. Anyway, we know what we have to do with the thrust now. Or am I talking about manual thrust? Auto thrust, sorry. Yeah, about 62. Massive amount of thrust on final. I suppose it's that drag. Makes sense now I think about it. Right, there we go. Reversers out, spoilers deployed. We are decelerating. Bit of a float. We actually slightly, there's something I should have predicted there. Definitely flared a bit high, and I'll explain why. We do get a nice replay in next plane. Oh, let's go join our colleague over there. So, oh, no, I don't want to update Navigraph right now. Right, manual brakes. Let's locate here. Welcome to Bergamo. What an approach, what a mess. That was not my finest hour. So I apologise for that. That was just caused by, I feel like we weren't far off being able to do that, but it was just, I just descended too late. So, and limiting the bank angle to 15 is definitely not going to help. And then, yeah, obviously you can't fly that procedural turn at 280 knots. But there we go, we made it in. It's all a bit more straightforward when you can be visual. But certainly what you saw there is nothing like what we would do in a real aircraft, I can promise you that.
Beluga 314.
Thanks very much. And that's Beluga 314 vacated from the runway at Bergamo. Right, let's go park up. Disarm those ground spoilers, which I still haven't got assigned to anything. Get the lights off. Short taxi in this. Oh, not far, not bad for the centre line. Oh yeah, flaps helps as well. Oh, bit much. There we go. And the parking brake is set. So, just waiting for that APU. Cargo seems to be unharmed. That's the important thing. So, Christian, exactly, we made it. Replay coming shortly. No worries at all. Yeah, we got away with the landing, but that was quite a quite a ridiculous approach. But as I said, I was very underprepared for this in terms of the automatics on this aeroplane. It was, oh yeah, brakes are hot, no surprise there. Yeah, it's interesting. It did not disengage that land mode, no matter how many times I wanted vertical speed, which I was thinking would put it away from that. So yeah, oh, there's brake fans. We do have them. There we go, on. So that was interesting, and obviously, yeah, no surprise. Oh, I love that. Seeing aircraft take off towards the sunset. That's great. Thank you to our friend for flying along with us. Great to have you here with us. Airbus says, masterful landing cap, truly enjoyable, big like for me. Thanks very much. If you did enjoy the stream, do please hit the like button, especially if you enjoy watching me work hard on approach there. I really appreciate it. It makes a big difference to the channel. So what we're going to do now is disconnect from VATSIM. Got a very nice message there. So disconnect. This is such a treat. So final approach. So it took a while. As I said, datums so important. And by datums, what I mean is a specific pitch setting and a specific thrust setting for flying final approach. For example, I know in the 320 it's about 50% on the N1s. It will be close to what I need, and it'll be a little bit less if you're flap 3. Single engine, about 60% flap 3 year down, things like this. These are numbers that you tend to know, and I really didn't know what they were for this aircraft. I foolishly totally forgot I was in a Beluga at this point and decided I was going to fly around at 50 odd percent, 55% maybe. I thought there was a lot of drag, but total nonsense, because of course this airplane has a massive great speed brake on the head, so that was not going to work. So yeah, it does take a huge thrust setting. It must be very noisy on final approach, this aircraft, running at 60% both engines all the way down. So I wonder if they typically do lower flap landings. I don't know, but I wonder. It would be a lot more efficient in this thing. Maybe it wouldn't make much difference. Yeah, one more like for 200. Thanks so much for everyone who's kindly liked. And then we got to here, and I'm in the flare. A little bit of over controlling. Idle. So I idled it about here. So I think I'm about to touch down, or I'm in the last 10 feet. But if you look outside, there you go. And that gives it away. So what's happened here is the flight deck is quite low, and it's actually lowered from the nose here. So yeah, I feel lower. So in my mind, the main wheels are a bit lower by about that much, which would put them just above the runway. So yeah, easily done. Visual perspective change makes a big difference when you're swapping aircraft types. Something you have to get used to. Not quite on the centerline. So yeah, that is something like when we fly the A340, we have to learn to flare a lot earlier. Same for the 747-200. It's flaring earlier. We had to do something we had to get our head around because it is a bit different visual picture. So yeah, lo and behold, I think I'm on the runway already and actually still in the flare. Running out of touchdown zone gradually. So let's just leave it running. There we go. Yeah, I wish Microsoft Flight Simulator had a tool that was this complete. There we go. At the end of the touchdown zone, but we made it. Yeah, we'll remember that for next time when we fly this in 6 months or whatever it'll be. Hopefully we'll get to it a bit sooner. I really want to fly the 747-200 as well. And then obviously we need to fly the A320NEO, and just so much flight simming to do, so little time. Right, let's run the replay from the side. So, love this view. This is great. PS helicopters. Thanks, Hayden. Yeah, you got to add them on. So, into the flare, too high, floating along. There we go. Look at that, into the sunset. Absolutely love it. Love flying this airplane. Thank you all for indulging me and letting me fly it again on the video, on the stream I should say. It's yeah, a real treat for me. What we're going to do now then, let's just skip ahead a bit because we're confusing the replay. Put it about here. Let's put our nice wing view up, and I'm going to say thank you all for coming along. Alex Bunch, you're very welcome. Thanks for coming along. Thank you for everyone who's joined in, who's chatted along, who's flown along with us. Really appreciate it. Thanks for those very kind donations. Really appreciate it as well, of course. More videos to come. Like I said, there is that Autoland video up on the channel now, and there'll be more to come soon. Luca would like a Phoenix secondary flight plan tutorial, so that's something we can definitely look at as well. And of course, we've got more aircraft we're going to fly in streams in the near future. And yeah, thank you to the moderators for looking after us. Thank you to those on Twitch and YouTube. Really appreciate it. We'll see you all again in another video live stream soon. Keep safe and well. Bye bye.